welcome to the Brooklyn Bridge. Tonight, like every other week, we're going to bring that heat, that fire, that history, politics, and today's current events from a foundational Black American perspective. Buckle up. It's about to go down. Let's get it. Join the crew, join the crew, join the crew. Tell somebody to tell somebody. It's going right now on the bridge. New York is hot. Ice is out. Are you out? Because ice is out. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? While the team get ready behind the scenes, Brother Tad is off tonight. But while we wait for Brother Black, Sister Brooke, and Brother Divine, we're going to get into some shout outs real quick. Ally Davis, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Make sure you let us know where you calling in from. Let us know where you calling in from so we can give your hometown some love. Kimberly Powell. Man, did we have fun the other night, Kimberly? Did we have fun the other night? Did we reveal some things the other night? We're going to get into that as well. Shh. Don't let nobody know. Don't let nobody know. Aruba 927. BK. Doggy Diamond TV Mod. Up on the check-in. Brooklyn in the house. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Justin Lavelle. What's happening? Welcome back to the Brooklyn Bridge. Get that BK flavor with you. Get that BK flavor with you. I am a mirror. Be one to you and yours. We about to get it in. Our brother Rich Nice. Callie on the check-in. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Big Russ. What's good? What's good? Philly in the building. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. What up, Shell? What up, Shell? Jersey on the check-in. What's happening? What's happening? Aunt Marie. Brownsville finest. Up on the Brooklyn Bridge. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Who I missed? Who did I miss? Who is that? Khadija Bay? I hope I got that right. Blame the eyes, not the heart. Trish, what's happening? What's happening? Glad you rocking out with us on the Brooklyn Bridge. Mr. Far Nessa, Alabama on the check-in. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Welcome to the Brooklyn Bridge. It's about to go down. What up, Pizzo? What up, Pizzo? On the check-in. What's good? What's good? What's good? Farragut's finest on the check-in. What it is, what it is, what it is. Yes, indeed, sis. Was some truths revealed? Did we find some truths? Huh? Pan Goofies are quiet now. Pan Goofies are quiet on that. Ramona Bryant, sorry. Ramona Bryant. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Hope I didn't mess that up. Who is that? Yagua, what's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? Glad you rocking out with us on the Brooklyn Bridge. Lovely VB. What it is, what it is. Culture, media, TV, on the check-in. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? You already know, please. You already know. I don't know. We doing lunch tomorrow? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know. We might have to do dinner. Got some running around to do. So we might have to do dinner instead of lunch. Anyway, first class citizen. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Let's get into it. Who did I miss? RA 19998. Excuse me. Thank you for rocking out with us on the Brooklyn Bridge. DSB 225. What it is, what it is, what it is. Hope I didn't miss somebody else. Let me see. Sugar Love Cafe. What's happening? Glad you rocking out with us on the Brooklyn Bridge. Uptight 24. What it is, bro? What it is, what it is, what it is. So, as usual, before we get started, let's do a little Black History piece. All right, let's do that. Let's do that real quick. Here we go.
There was once a place where Black families could vacation, celebrate, and simply enjoy life during segregation. It was called Paradise Park, opened in 1949 beside Silver Springs in Ocala, Florida. Created because Black visitors were denied access to nearby Silver Springs under Jim Crow segregation, Paradise Park became a place where families could make memories together. Visitors spent warm summer days swimming in crystal-clear spring waters, riding the famous glass-bottom boats, and experiencing the natural beauty that made Florida so special. Music filled the air as friends and families danced, laughed, and celebrated life in a place where they were welcomed with dignity. Picnics brought generations together, turning ordinary afternoons into lifelong memories. Beauty pageants, community events, and celebrations showcased talent, confidence, and pride while strengthening the bonds of the community. The park also hosted church baptisms and family reunions, making it more than a vacation destination. It became a place where faith, family, and fellowship flourished. After public attractions were desegregated, Paradise Park eventually closed in 1969. But its legacy lives on through the memories of the families who filled it with joy. Did you know there was...
Now, if you knew about that park, let me get a 1 in the chat. And if it's something new to you, put a 2 in the chat. Because we always had a way to make a way out of nowhere. When we were barred from certain places or didn't feel comfortable in certain places, we made a way out of nowhere. Unlike other people who sit and cry about it. Cry about it. Let me see. Brother Black, you ready? Before I go all the way in? I can't see your face. You want a minute? You ready? Yes? Yes? All right. Brother Black, what's happening? What's happening?
What's up, Sister Kiesha? How you doing today?
Good, good, good. What you got
Can
for
you
us
see me? Can
today?
you hear me?
Got you loud and clear.
Yeah. Not much, really. I mean, everything since it happened is hard to believe. Been 4 weeks now, in the Nolan Wells case, and now we have a suspect, and we're gonna see how this is gonna all come together because I don't see. Instead of him, he lawyered up and went on the offensive by telling people if you like how you always get at me for not saying allegedly or this, that, and the third. His lawyer is saying that if you make any kind of accusations that he did it, that we coming for you. And I don't see how that's going to happen. You're going to sue the whole internet practically, or all the content creators who are talking about it in that way. So, I mean, this is a watershed moment in U.S. politics and law. So, this is going to be a big one, but the evidence is compelling, and it's more and more showing that they all covered it up if they didn't actually do it themselves. I don't believe his friends were a party to it, but once you cover something up, you become a party to it post activity. So they still a party to it, however it happened, because once a crime, especially if a felony is committed, you have to report it. Not only that, that happened on a federal island. So these are federal charges. So the DOJ had to come in. So it's no longer a state issue. And this is why a few days ago, the governor even said that he wanted to bust up Trump and Sharpton and Crump. So what's the charges? In seeking justice, what charges can you level against them? So this is becoming a real big thing now, and it's international in scope because of the internet and so on and so forth. And everybody knows, if there's a fly in the ointment and the fly is the only one that died, then what's the problem here? Cover up. So that's it, really. I mean, the weather been crazy. How was the storm? Can you go on a little bit about the storm last weekend?
Yes, we did.
We did. Okay, we did. Okay.
But it's been a little calm. We got like spurts and then it'll stop. Spurts,
right,
and then it'll stop.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well,
so
heat dome all over most of the United States right now. So we're going through it again. Hundreds, 115, some places. Just got to survive this summer, and there's all kind of natural disasters happening everywhere right now. So just keep your head on the swivel and hope it don't affect you. I heard there was a small earthquake in Atlanta 2 or 3 days ago. It was a 2.6.
Wow.
Now that ain't going to do much damage, but if all these fault lines are being activated, and I told you previously that a lot of them are as a result of the solar flares and the Schumann resonance that is popping out of control as we speak, and more coming. You got to expect anything, anywhere, at any time. So I just want to tell everybody that they keep your head on the swivel. Before you take it back, Sister Kiesha, I got to leave in about 45 minutes, more or less. So if I leave, if y'all deep involved, I'm not gonna interfere. I'll just let you know in the chat that I'm out, and then you'll go from there.
No problem.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Nolan Wells. Now Nancy
Yes,
Grace is getting involved.
Oh, very involved.
Let's play this clip and we'll come right back.
Okay.
News tonight in the Nolan Wells investigation, enhanced distress call audio bombshell.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the work coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd
Hello?
you say? Hey,
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
it's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
What did we just hear? What was that? One more time, please.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the work coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd
Hello?
you say? Hey,
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
it's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
Straight out to investigative reporter Crime Stories, Dave Mack. Did you just hear what I heard? Now, this has been transcribed, and this is the CTO dispatch call. Because, Dave, when I first heard this, I thought, has this been doctored? Is this real? Where's this coming from, Dave?
Nancy, this is coming from from Mississippi, from the actual official. Okay, when we get into the Mississippi Fish and Wildlife and at the reserve putting this out for the public, this is not like from Dave Mack's recording. This is an official recording, Nancy, that is being issued, and it's shocking when you listen to this call for a tow, for the CTO. Going further into it, Nancy, you're picking apart all of the different voices that can be heard on this one phone call, trying to determine what is really taking place on this boat that is allegedly sitting in 31 feet of water, a depth of 31 feet. And a bilge pump not working, claiming they're sinking.
Breaking news tonight.
So as you see, this tape was leaked. It's been flying all over the internet for the past week and a half. But things are called into question. The key
Sister
thing
Kiesha.
to understand is
No, finish, please. I apologize. Go ahead.
the key thing to understand is that will the family's legal team jump in on this and use it in their arsenal when appealing, if they will, to a federal judge? Because again, if this happened on the water, we're dealing with maritime law now. It's no longer state law. So it's interesting on how this is going to play out, but we'll see. Go ahead, Black.
Well, Horn Island is a federal, I don't know what to call it. It's a federal property. Let's say it like that. So I don't give it a wrong name. But on top of that, like the guy was saying, that's an official call. So this is now, it's already in a federal place, because initially the state police or city police or, county, whatever, said that they didn't see any wrongdoings, and that's when Crump said we're going to ship the body to Washington, and then they find out they don't have the throat and the lungs, and blah blah blah, and so on. Because again, a lot of these boys' parents, one is a judge, one is a cop, one is teachers, and these people are, and they're community people. Most of those people are from those areas, so they all know. Like in this case of Carmelo Anthony, even though Ocean Springs is a small place, Frisco, Texas is a city, a town, not a big city, but a town, over 200,000 people. It's still the core of the people that have been there for who are in their probably 60s and 70s now, all know each other because they've probably been there, if not their whole life, most of it. So they all have a relationship, and they all huddle and get together and plan these things out. So now you can no longer, with the advent of the internet, because a lot of people was telling me in the beginning they don't think that any of those boys are going to get convicted. But when it becomes a DOJ case, them people in Washington don't give one F about anybody in Mississippi that's doing that fuck shit that they got to come and investigate, and there will be arrests soon, and so on and so forth. What I want to warn the people of Mississippi is, we know the history of Mississippi. It was even a movie called Mississippi Burning, when all the states pretty much already said, okay, we have to desegregate. Mississippi was the last stronghold. I want to warn black people that in the event any of these boys get arrested, especially the dude that's most in question, he's supposed to be a future NFLer. He has that level of talent. So if he gets arrested, it's going to be some race riots over there and all that. And Chud the Builder and that other idiot that was following the Carmelo case were just the precursors to what we could see happening in the near future. So strap up, be ready, and just know that at any given time, they might not even pick on young black men. They may start going after young girls coming home from school and that kind of thing. So be careful out there, y'all. And with that, I'm done unless you got any questions, sis.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I like what Kimberly Powell said. She got right to it. Ben Crump is not going to do that, not going to jump on it, because professionally, he is a personal injury attorney. That explains why he only focuses on money. And we should expect that. But I want to move on to something else, because this is Throwback Thursday. Do you remember
Mr. Kiesha, you're frozen. I don't know if you can hear me. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you just came back. Go ahead.
Uh-oh, that's you. But anyway, while Black figures that out, so there was a protest back in the 90s of the NYPD against New York government and Black people. I don't know if people remember that. So we're going to play this clip because, when people think about racism, they only think about the South, unfortunately. But this is up South here in New York. So I'm going to play this clip and we'll come right back and we'll discuss. Hold on, give me a second.
There's new trouble, in this country's largest police department. The latest evidence, an unruly demonstration last week here in New York. Some of the protesters made racial remarks, and partly because of that, it is still reverberating. As Giselle Fernandez reports, the problem wasn't calling out the police. They were the police.
It was a show of force on the steps of New York City Hall. 10,000 off-duty cops banded together in protest, fed up and angry with a city they claim doesn't back them up. The demonstration turned ugly. The mayor called them hooligans.
That kind of language, racial slurs, separate and apart from the destruction of property and whatnot, that is why some people have an absence of confidence or sufficient confidence in the police department.
Observers call the protest a reflection of the nation's largest police force in crisis and a complete breakdown of public trust.
They climb the very steps of government. and felt comfortable to call the mayor of this city a nigger. It's outrageous. If David Duke had a police department, it would look and sound like this group of people who assaulted our census.
The president of the police union says racism is not the issue here. The mayor's plan for an all-civilian board to review police misconduct, he says, is the last straw that sent the force to the streets.
We're charged with that responsibility to risk our lives each and every day, put on a bulletproof vest, and what are we getting for it? Nothing but hatred from the people we're serving.
Like many cities across the nation, New York has been torn by racial unrest. Most recently in Upper Manhattan, when a police shooting ignited nights of riots. Observers say it's not just racism, it's inner-city mistrust of police officers, both black and white.
The tension's going to be just as great with minority police officers confronting neighborhoods in which there's a high incidence of crime and a historical distrust.
Experts say putting more police officers directly in the community on a day-to-day basis may be one way to build a better bridge of understanding. The idea is simple, to have officer and citizen feel they're on the same team, not hostile adversaries. Giselle Fernandez, CBS News, New York.
A lot of people don't remember that, but I do, because it came on the heels of all of these racially motivated cases that took place in New York. Yusuf Hawkins, right? You had
Gavin Cato,
Eleanor Bumpers, all of this, Tawana Brawley, all of this. So the police then, came out and had their little protests and walk off the job and all of this kind of foolishness. But we caught the brunt of it. So when you fast forward to today, when you got the Dominican Day Parade, where they out there wilding, but the police don't feel no threat for their lives. But anyway, let me get Sister Breuck, Brother Divine. Y'all ready? Let's get Sister Breuck and President Divine up on the Brooklyn Bridge. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
Peace, my family.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Got you loud
Yeah,
and
we
clear.
can.
Got you loud and clear.
All right. Hi. How are you guys? Hi, Brother Black. Hi, Sis Kiesha. Hi, President Divine. How you doing over
What's
there?
happening?
What's going on? What's going on, everybody?
Quick question. Do y'all remember that? When the police was rioting here in New York City?
Yes. Vaguely, but I do remember it. I didn't realize, when you're older now and you're looking at things from a different lens, at that time, you're thinking all Black people are the same, all of these things. It's crazy to look back at it, now from this lens. But my mom was the one who reminded me a lot about these instances as I was doing what I was doing at the nail shop. She was like, you remember this and you remember that, right? You remember that happening. And so, but I was real young at that time. So I ain't gonna lie. I wasn't involved.
Good thing.
Yeah, that was a little bit before the times that I can remember. So I did not know. So I'm thankful for, that education and the things that you do remember, that you do then in turn share with us, because it kind of, it gives context and much needed history on what it was like in this city during the 90s. Because if you guys have ever had conversations with any bad faith white folks, that is one of the errors that they continually and constantly go to when they talk about, well, what happened? So I remember back in the day, we didn't talk about race this much. They don't even go back to the golden age or golden eras anymore. They be talking about the 90s, like everything was okay in the 90s. Now, like I said, that was a little bit before my time, but I do remember Rodney King and also the OJ trial. So it's like there were definitely things that I remember off the top of my head that were major in the 90s going into the 2000s, where, it showed, that we were as divided as we ever been. So this nostalgic look back at the 90s as if it wasn't happening. The only thing that's different now, that was also different then is that there was no social media. So the people didn't have a voice to share this amplified and things of that nature. You had to depend on the mainstream media, which did a great job of hiding and masking it and pretending that these things weren't happening.
Just to give you a clue, Brother Divine, real quick. At the time, Mayor Dinkins was the first black mayor of New York City, and his police chief was the first black police chief. His name, I forget his last name, but his first name was Ben something. You remember, Sister Kiesha?
Benjamin
Ben
Ward.
Ward. There you go. There you go. So the cops was basically protesting against black people allegedly running the city, you know, and not agreeing with some of their decisions, because Dinkins told the cops not to go in when the riots was happening in Crown Heights as a result of Gavin Cato. I mean, it was more than that, but that was probably the precursor to all of that came with Sister Kiesha just showed us. Most of the cops was drunk, unruly, even fighting with cops that was on duty. A few of them got arrested, not many, maybe 5, 6, 7, like that. And that was the ones that was like not stopping. You know, like, hey, calm down. You know, I'm, you know, we're together. I ask you, and then you know they just arrested myself, and probably they all got dismissed. They probably just put them in the tank for a few hours, let them wear the alcohol off, and then tell them go home, get the hell up out of here.
Yeah, I do remember the Dinkins being the mayor, and you know, I lived, you know, hop, skip, and a jump from over there. So I remember it from you know that perspective, but like not really understanding everything that was happening and everything that was going on. But like I said, because the nail shop also happened a hop, skip, and a jump from over there. My mom just was like refreshing, you know, my memory, like, yo, like, and so she was like, she just felt like it was so poetic that I was doing what I was doing in this. I think it because she was like, you don't remember, you know, there was a Korean store had done something to a young black girl, and she was like, you don't remember that, you know? She was like, yeah. She was like, and you right over there close to the same block,
right?
You
that
know,
was on
to where that happened. And so you know, my mom was just, you know, refreshing my memory about those times. And it's just interesting to me, even though the Caribbeans were not in the forefront of what was happening, at least they gave a gosh darn. And it just seems like nowadays, like, I don't know. I hope, you know what I mean? Like, because that was their own children. So I would, you know, look, it's just crazy. It's crazy to me to see how things have changed but remain the same at the same time, you know. And with the police, Lord, they are constantly, especially the NYPD, they are constantly you know, that what's their union called? I forgot what they
PBA, Police
yeah.
Benevolent Association.
Man, listen, they are constantly protesting craziness. You remember not too long ago they was like, oh, they was protesting water balloons and water guns, and it's just it's nuts. So yeah, it's like I said, it's just interesting seeing and hearing, you know, someone who was involved in it, because my mom was not involved, you know what I mean? My mom was raising us. She was not involved. So it's interesting to hear, you know, Kiesha's point of view, being involved and what it was like doing that kind of work at that time.
It was crazy.
Real quick.
Hold on one second.
Yes,
Shout out to the Church of Black Power and Cyberdyne. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all, first class citizen. What it is, what it is, what it is. Marie says the Larry Davis case exposed the divide in the NYPD. But of course, we knew it was there. But that case exposed just how crooked they really are. Absolutely. Yo, I remember that like it was yesterday. They had J Street cut off. You know, it was wild. It was wild. But You have to remember that. Because when you mentioned the incident with the vegetable stand in Crown Heights, and you said at that time they was on it. No, they wasn't. No, they wasn't.
Tell the truth
No, they wasn't.
now.
It was us. You had a handful.
Okay.
And I want everybody to understand. It was their leadership that folded like a cheap suit.
Oh,
folded like a cheap suit. We don't want no more violence. We was down there hooking off. Boom, 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 catching them. They didn't want no problems.
See, I didn't know the difference of who was who, you know, and so a lot of times I just assume because of the area that, you know what I'm saying, that they were involved. Wow, that's a damn shit. So this been going on a long.
Well, wasn't that movement led by Al Sharpton, Sister Kiesha? He was involved if he wasn't leading it. I know that much.
He always sticking his nose where it don't belong, or sending his flunky.
The guy with the dreads, last name Green. It'll come to
the tall guy
with glasses, dark skin, older guy. I'll get it in a minute.
Robert
he was the one negotiating. He did it with that, and he did it with the murder of Gavin Cato and his cousin.
Wow. And so what did they negotiate?
No more violence. A lot more of them moved in to that area because it was still filled with us at that time. Us, the hats, and they started coming in, right? I'm going to find a clip where somebody did an interview with them when they first started coming to Brooklyn. I'll find that clip so that y'all can see, but they really wasn't about it. Not at all. Not in the least bit. So when I see stuff today, when them talking about why we don't fight the white team man, why you ain't fighting? Why we had to fight your battles while you were here? Forgetting your homeland. When you were here, you was a sucker. You was a sucker the whole way around. From Abner the Weemer, sucker. Sucker. He got the booty plunged out. Pause. Sucker. Where was these people who formed Little Haiti at? Where y'all was at? When Chanel Lewis got railroaded for the unalivement of that Italian girl, where was the Jamaicans at?
Oh.
I was in the courtroom. Ray was in the courtroom. History Hitman was in the courtroom. Where were they? Where was the board to the West Indian Day Parade? Because we reached out to them. And like Brother Divine, we ain't getting no response either.
Wow. So this is tradition at this point.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. It's culture.
So that's why they mad. Because we ain't jumping out the window for them no more.
Wow.
That's why they mad. That's why I say you gotta look at the whole picture. They wasn't doing jack. So that's why they mad.
That is crazy. Man, listen, I'm so happy that you were, you know, that you're here to shine some light on these situations, because I really thought that I was like, okay, maybe these newcomers, the second generation, they not fighting, but their parents used to do something when they got here. No, so this has always been like this. And I was giving people credit.
Hey, Sister Kiesha, can you re-quote Ramali Griffin's father after the fact?
Who?
Ramali Griffin.
Ramali Graham?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I said the wrong name.
His father said, when we came here We came for a better life.
Mm.
Now, we didn't want any involvement in these things.
Oh yeah.
He said, and we always felt that way. I always felt that way until it happened to my son.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who was outside this house? We were. We were. This is why delineation is killing them.
Yeah, it is.
You got nobody to fight for you no more. You on your own. Good luck. That's why they mad. That's why they big mad. Now, because in the 80s, I think we played this last week. You had church groups and all these groups helping out the Haitian people when they first got here. Nobody's helping you no more. Nobody's helping you no more. Except for the hats, who in it for themselves. And they're using you as a pawn.
Yep.
But you so thirsty and greedy, you can't even see it. What are your
But that lady
thoughts
said
on Brother
immigrants built the
Divine
country.
with the hats being involved?
Involved with what and in what way?
Helping the TPS folks try to stay in this country. Giving them legal advice, trying to appeal to politicians and the law.
Remember the watch
have
party
them
we
stay
had?
here. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it brings me, now that you're saying it, just off the top of my head, it went to it because it was something I was thinking about a while ago. Are you guys familiar with who Tim Wise is?
A little bit.
Right. So
I don't watch him though.
I remember in my more naive days, when I first saw that documentary he put together, I think it was called White Like Me. And I was like, wow, there's this white person and they're an ally and they are really laying out, what the issues and problems are with whiteness. And, just how they manipulate, how whiteness manipulates data, statistics, the narrative and stuff like that. I'm like, man, this white man is really giving up game. And fast forward to, the Foundation Black American Grassroots and us, delineating and pulling receipts. That's when I found out that Tim Wise was one of the small hats. And so what I found and what we're starting to see as we uncover more and dig deeper into this cluster flop that we got going on around race, around whiteness, around delineation, around the small hats, around flat blackness, flat whiteness. What we're starting to see, and the reason why they consistently, the white supremacists, continually come into our spaces and try to delineate whiteness when they make their arguments. Everyone but us has delineated so they can have a duality that they get to exploit and jump in and out of whenever it benefits them the most. Foundation Black Americans, we're the only group that has delineated so that we are who we are and no one else can be us, for better or for worse.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not to exploit any other group because we've never had to exploit any other group. Because just us being us is enough for us to get on code, for us to push for justice for ourselves and others, but also our story is all the justification we've ever needed to demand all that we've ever demanded and more. And so all these other groups create these identities that they jump in and out of because their story is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Things that they demand from this country. And so, piggybacking on, the spies of Mississippi and us breaking down all of the legacy organizations and Pan-African organizations that are compromised. With the NAACP specifically, we now see that it was essentially a brainchild, a think tank, or at least the result of a think tank by the small hats to figure out how they could take this burgeoning movement that was going to happen with or without them. How can I tether onto this group who I don't look like and can't tether onto phenotypically, but still need to tether onto, because what they're pushing, we are going to need to benefit, or we're going to be left in the condition that the MENA group found themselves in before they delineated. And that's what the small hats saw long before anybody else saw based on delineation. They did not want to get stuck in whiteness, because in this country, whiteness is not a protected class. And they knew they were going to need that protective class so they could move forward on their own ethnically when they need to, but then also jump right back into whiteness when it's time to benefit from white supremacy.
I'm gonna play these
Hey,
clips.
Brother Divine,
Then
I
we
gotta
gonna come
go.
right back to Sister Brooke. Go ahead, Black.
Were you finished, Brother Divine? Yeah, okay. Did y'all ever hear? I've been hearing about this over the years. I never really focused in on it and researched it deep. That during the post antebellum, or what's the word I'm looking for? Reconstruction. During the Reconstruction era, when blacks was allegedly free in what is now known as the United States, there was the debate between the hats and the regular pink people. And the regular pink people wanted to deport all the blacks back to Africa, and the hats was saying, sell us the rights to them so that we can basically be a virus class on their backs. Did y'all ever hear about that? Any of y'all?
No. I haven't.
Okay. I've been seeing it over the years. I'm gonna look for it, and when I get the information, me and Sister Kiesha always inboxing each other, so I'll send it to her, and she can send it to y'all. And
yeah, please do.
And then chop it up on that next week. I'm done, Sister Kiesha. You can get it back.
So let me play these clips. These are interviews of Jamaicans and Trinidadians in Crown Heights, their experiences when they first got here. Here we go.
Hello, can you tell me your name, please?
David Reed.
Can you tell me where you're from?
I'm from Jamaica.
How long have you been here, David?
About 2 months ago.
How do you find life here in America?
Well, not so bad, but it's kind of difficult to get around the place.
Can you tell me why you feel that way?
Because I see strange people and I don't have any friends in America as yet, so it kind of been strange.
Oh.
You understand?
Hey, how old are you?
I'm 16 years old.
Are you going to school here?
No, not until September.
Can you tell me a little bit about Jamaica on a daily basis?
Well, Jamaica is a nice place, but in Jamaica...
Wellington.
And yours?
Land, Charles, Country.
Oh. And your mother's from Trinidad?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me some of the stories she used to tell you?
About how she used to live, and every morning she used to have to walk and go to the well and get water. And then after that, she'd have to milk the cow. And then she'd have to walk to school about a mile away or something.
About a mile away to get to school? What else did she tell you?
How they used to have to strain, pick out the rice for themselves, and they how it was back then.
What's your name?
Lori.
Can you tell me where you're from?
I'm from Kingston, Jamaica.
Can you tell me what is the experience like being here in America?
Well, so far America's been good to me. Since I moved here 7 years ago, I've gone to school. I've acquired a bachelor's degrees. I'm like 6 months away from my master's, and it's been very good to me. I have a very good job, and I like it very much.
Do you think you would have made these accomplishments in Jamaica?
I would have probably made it, but it'd have taken me a much longer time because Jamaica is a little bit slower than the United States. So it would have taken me quite a while. I don't think I'd have gotten this far if I was still in Jamaica.
So you don't have any regrets coming to America?
No regrets, no remorse. No, I'm perfectly happy here.
Would you like to ever go back to Jamaica permanently?
If I was getting a good job that is equivalent to the salary that I'm making here in America, yeah, why not? I love my country.
Can you tell me? What is your name?
My name is Dulcina Gill.
Can you tell me where you came from?
I came from Trinidad, Port of Spain, West Indies.
Can you tell me a little bit of reasons why? What made you come to the United States?
Well, I was curious. I had my sister here, and I wanted to come to see how it was. And I came in 1965. I enjoyed it, but I don't like New York.
Can you tell me why you don't like New York?
It's a very hard place to get adjusted to. From my line of life in Trinidad, it was very fast, and it was like, I can't adjust to the cold, and I love my country.
All right. From 1965, have you ever been back to Trinidad yet?
Oh, I've been back to Trinidad.
What's your name?
My name is Sean Francis.
Where do you live?
I live right here at 317 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn.
All right, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions, all right?
All right.
All right. Where did you used to live before this?
I used to live in Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica.
How is it there?
It's all right. It's okay there. Not really bad.
Do you like it here? How are things here, like, different than Jamaica?
For supermarket, for instance, supermarket in Jamaica, their prices are too dear. For allowance, right? You can't really get to pay allowance to the kids. But over here, you could pay allowance because, like $5 in Jamaica, that only could serve them for one day. Over here, it could buy them breakfast, lunch, and food. In Jamaica, it's kind of rough on the people down there than it is over here.
Do you like it here?
Yeah, I like it here. And I like Jamaica.
What's your name?
So, these interviews were done on the cusp of the Howard Beach case. Okay? They look shook. They look uneasy. No.
And what year was that? What year was that?
1986. 1986. They don't look uneasy, do they? They just know they're here to get it. They don't want to upset the apple cart. So, I found it ironic since we had to pull up on Utica. What was it, last September? We had to pull up on Utica, and these interviews, took place on Utica Ave. It's crazy. Your thoughts?
Oh, please. I'm chomping at the bit. That, ladies and gentlemen, is where I grew up. 1986. I want y'all to understand where I grew up. Right? Flatbush Church, Flatbush and Nostrand. You know what I'm saying? Flatbush don't cross Nostrand, but you get what I'm saying. Flatbush, Nostrand Avenue, Ramsden, Utica. That is where I grew up. And that video was from 1986. Keep that. I want y'all to understand this. Now y'all see. You get to see with your own eyes the environment in which that made me. The woman said she'd been here since 1965, but she don't much like it. And it was the 80s by then. So you stayed here all this time and you didn't go back home? Why are you still here? And that's one thing. My mother was always, loving towards everybody. But that when people used to say stuff like that, she ain't like that. She, well, what you here for? If you don't like it here, why are you here? Take your ass back home.
They can't get
I
that
wanted
bread.
that was where $5 will buy you breakfast, lunch, and snack, the little boy said. When $5 Jamaican dollars, which had the king on it, or the queen at that time, couldn't get him nothing. Or matter of fact, he couldn't even get allowance. That's what he said. But here, he gets to have allowance. So, I don't even, Cyberdyne, I don't remember a time where Utica used to be FBA. My entire life, I have always been the only American in the room. I have always been the only foundational Black American in the room. Unless I was with my family. And maybe I met one or two, you know what I'm saying, on my way. But I have always been the only one in the room, which is why when people get upset about delineation, I never understood it, because I never represented anything but who I am. They had their flags. I had my flag. I always repped my flag. Never, ever have I ever carried another flag except the American flag. So to go back, because I didn't get a chance to comment on the small hats, I just wanted to remind people that they wanted to stop hiding, because they were already considered white tea as long as they hid. As long as they didn't tell nobody what their last name really was, as long as they didn't tell anybody what their background really was, as long as they didn't do any of that, they could hide. Hence, again, Hedy Lamarr. Hedy Lamarr is a famous actress from, I think, the 20s? I think, if I might have back, black and white. Okay. And she was a famous actress. And, they she hid who she was, and I'm gonna release this video on my channel. But I had did a video where her own son was sitting there talking about he didn't know his mother was Jewish, or his mother was, a small hat. He didn't know. He didn't know his mother came from Austria. He didn't know she escaped. He didn't know. So as long as they hid who they were, they could be white tea. But like you said, if they want set-asides and benefits, that they fought for, that they orchestrated, I'll put it that way. I won't say they necessarily fought for it, but they helped orchestrate through the legal system, because they were the legal minds in the NAACP. Which is why the language is what it is. Because had the Niagara movement been at the helm, I believe we would have delineated, even in the civil rights. I don't believe it would have been civil rights. I believe it could have possibly been Black American or freedmen rights. But because in the NAACP, the head of the legal team, because understand, Du Bois was a writer. He was a writer. He was part of the media team, because they used him and his story and his Black American freedman heritage as leverage. But the legal minds that were behind it were all small hats. And then they branched out and tried to get, like Thurgood Marshall and, other Black lawyers to be involved. Once Thurgood Marshall got to where he was, because they realized that they could, use him. So they inserted themselves and decided to take over the legal arm of that to make it work for them more than it worked for us, because they knew, because simply ending segregation would not help us much because we still can't hide. It's not changing the hearts and minds of the people who are the segregationists. It's not changing their hearts and minds. So they still gonna do and feel and treat us the same way they always have. But for the small hat, now, because remember, one part of the reason why they had Levittown was because Levittown was started by a small hat is because they had other towns where they weren't allowed. And so he wanted to do a town where the small hats were allowed, but the Negroes were not, because they don't want to live with Negroes either. But some of the white tea people didn't want them living with them either. So, and I just want to add a couple more things. I want to remind people, that the small hats fought in the Civil War on the Confederate side. These are facts. And then when it got hot, they ran to the North. When they saw that the Confederates was going to lose, they left them behind and jumped ship to go to the North. They have never been people to stand 10 toes down, to fight. They swing where the wind blows, where it's beneficial to them. You can't benefit me right now, I'm going to be with these people. If you can't benefit me right now, I'm going to swing back over to here. So they was on the Confederate side because they were plantation owners and everything else, just like all the other white tea people. Then I want to remind, or just bring back to, I remember it's when we went to the museum. Which museum was it? I think it was the historical museum in New York. When we went there, remember, Sister Kiesha, when you was showing us the area where the small hats and the Caribbeans got together, that is documented in the museum, and copulation began happening. Okay, birthing a bunch of drakes.
The museum for the city of New York.
And you could see it in real time. The articles, the headlines, the pictures, the documentation of the submission of the Caribbean to the small hat. So I want y'all to think about that when you guys are in these rooms and in these spaces, when they come in and they keep asking you, how come you don't fight against the small hat? How come you don't fight against the small hat? Why y'all having babies with the small hats? As they use you as what they call it, Sister Kiesha, what they call them? Oh my goodness, because they are legally given a funding so that they could have, what is it called? It was like, oh my goodness, it was sex.
Yeah, they're concubines.
But it was a special. No, it was a special word they used. It was like,
yes,
like a sex surrogate.
Sex surrogate. Yep,
that was it. This is on record that they need, that the small hat men need, especially the Hasidics, need a sex surrogate. So you're thinking that they like you, because I personally knew somebody who was half Caribbean, half small hat, and she didn't know her dad. Her dad didn't have a real relationship with them. Her dad would send checks, if that. That's the only thing she knew, is that once in a blue, he would send a couple dollars. So
that's Bob Marley's history. Same thing.
So this is the issue that I want y'all to remember this when they're telling you what we don't fight against. They willingly, because ain't nobody put a pew-pew to their head. They willingly submitted to the small hat community's men to be sex surrogates, whether they knew that's what they were called or not. We did not. President Divine knows, and every male that is around me, that's been around me for any amount of time, know the first thing I tell y'all, don't leave me in a room alone with these people. Don't leave me in a room alone with them. I do not be in a room alone with the ones in the whole outfit. Now the regular everyday dressing, you can't tell the difference. You can't tell the difference. But them ones in them outfits, don't you leave me alone with them. And I'll tell you why. Because I have had multiple instances where they have or attempted to SA me. I've told the story about me being on the train when I used to work in Midtown Manhattan with my little pencil skirt, and the train is packed, and all of a sudden my gown is in this man's hand. My whole gown, the whole, right under the thigh, right under the booty meat, right, that thigh area, right, my whole gown. He had my whole gown in his hand. And the train was packed, like we all crushed up like sardines. So when I felt it, I thought it was somebody's bag. And I looked to see who it is. When I tell you what, turn around and start yelling or whatever on the train. That's once. Another time, I'm coming home late night on the train, and this is the dollar cabs running. So I'm like, you know what? Let me catch it. It's freezing outside. I mean, below zero. It's freezing outside. So I'm like, let me catch a dollar cab, so I can just get home fast, so I don't have to walk or whatever. I catch it. I hop in a minivan, and it's one of them driving the minivan. At first I was like, well, everybody, who knows? When I tell you everything, the ancestors, my spirit, everything said, get out of that car. Get out, walk, freeze. Because at least you'll be alive. Get out. So then we drove a couple blocks, and I said, you know what? I live right here. I live right here. Can I, because he had already started reaching over, because he was like, sit in the front. He wanted me to sit in the front, which is weird because in the dollar cab, they usually want you to sit in the back. Sit in the front. So I go to sit in I sit down in the front. I'm like, okay. He started reaching over. I said, oh, I live right here. I live right here. I hopped out of that minivan so fast, and I walked home, and I froze. But my spirit, everything said, no, get out right now. Don't wait. Don't. Because like I said, he was already getting handsy-feely. And I tried to explain this. I remember trying to explain this to friends of mine. And I'm going to end it on this. I went to a soca weekend, upstate New York, right? When I was young, I partied a lot, okay? I went to a soca weekend, upstate New York. It was a bus trip, right? So again, I'm the only American. And the drive coming back home, so you literally partying all weekend. It's like parties just every couple hours is another party and another party and another party and another party, right? The whole weekend, right? So even when you're getting ready to leave, you leaving a party to get on the bus, right? So we dressed in our party attire, getting on the bus. The driver ended up being a whole garb, hat, curls, everything. The driver was looking so creepy. I was so creeped out. I sat next to my male friends, like, because I'm like, oh no, protect me, right? And the other women, I disagree with that one, but I'm not here to cape for them, but soca is definitely not white reggae. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. Maybe you could say ska is white reggae. You could say that maybe, but not soca. Anyway, so no, it wasn't a public transit bus. It was like what do you call those buses? A coach bus, right? That they paid, we paid for the bus to take us back and forth, right? So it wasn't a city bus. So we all on the bus, wags, loading our luggage and stuff like that. Yo, his eyes was out to bug out his head. And as I'm creeped out, all the other women are flirting with him. And I was like, I don't see how y'all could do that. Like, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it. That is not soca. Gwen Stefani is not soca. I would consider that to be ska. That's definitely not soca. But all the other women were flirting with him. And I was disgusted. And I'm trying to explain to them. I'm like, don't you know that they're weird? They're creepy. Do y'all understand? No, he just, he like black girls. Da, 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 da. I'm like, okay, you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And so that's the end. I think I didn't say it enough. Yeah, a charter bus. There you go. That's the word. A charter bus. Thank you, bitch. Nice. Yeah, I'll end there. I think I didn't say it enough.
Okay. If y'all can, check out the book. Jews, Slaves, and the Slave Trade by Faber.
You already know I'm on Amazon right now looking it up.
I got this from a professor in North Carolina. See, we used to go to the Gullah Festival. We used to meet up with this professor, and he would have all of these books for us. So this book cost like 50 cents. So, and it's an original print, so kept it. But moving right along, all this thing keep changing. I don't know what's going on here. But anyway,
can I just say something real quick before we move on along?
Sure, go ahead.
So I'm not a psychologist or a sociologist by any stretch of the imagination, but I do play one on YouTube every now and again. So I want to make sure. I wanted to touch on some things. I'll start here since Sister Brooke just finished telling her white folks that practice Judaism story. So here is what, like, my experience with them in my past life, and what lends itself to exactly what Sister Brooke talked about. And that thing is this. As we're talking about, as the TPS and illegal alien situation is on the rise and people's immigration status is coming into question, they are used to getting voluntary and semi-involuntary attention from Caribbean women based on the position that they put those Caribbean women in. And here's what I mean. I can't speak for Foundation Black Americans across the country because obviously we know we are the Afro-immigrant capital of the United States. One of, if not the, and I think is the. But I had never known what a baby nurse was until I started hanging out with Caribbeans.
That's true.
And for those that don't know, that's outside of New York or don't have any Caribbean friends in that position, what a baby nurse is a woman that is put in the charge of the children of the family, usually of the Caucasian persuasion, and usually those that practice Judaism, they will bring these women in, put them in charge of their children,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next part is where it gets real sticky. Pause, pun intended. Because not only do they give that position to them and say, yeah, you can just come and take care of my children. Right, like Mr. said in the chat, essentially a mammy, which is why that position almost never goes to foundational Black American women.
Because we good on that.
Because those days are done.
Done.
Right? That's one. Those days are done. But also because of the nature, again, of the position that they put these Caribbean and Afro-immigrant women into, because they are illegal, because they are undocumented, the position is that much more attractive to them because they can't get work legally anywhere else. And because they benefit from whiteness, they're able to pay them monies or more monies than they've been able to see almost anywhere else, again, given their immigration status. So here goes the sticky situation they put them in. They give them and put them in charge of their kids and say, yeah, you can watch my kids. And then they say, oh, well, you know, we need like a little bit of after hour work too. Can you stay late? And then staying late turns into, well, I have an extra room here, and we could need help putting them to sleep and waking them up and taking them to school and giving them breakfast. And then all of a sudden, that baby nurse is living in the house with those white folks that practice Judaism. And that's where the fun begins. And this is what I'm talking about with voluntary and involuntary, because somewhere in that transaction, you start to equate, weigh, risk, reward. What happens if I turn down some of these advances? I do it and I don't like it, or I convince myself that I do like it, or I just come to terms and do it anyway. And I don't know how many. Again, I'd never heard of the term, didn't know what that was until I met my first Caribbean. Since that point to today, I don't know how many, I can't count how many Caribbean women I've come across that was their job, or that was their mother's job, or that was theirs and their mother's job and they got passed down, or they know another female Caribbean that is doing that same job at the very same time. And somebody else put it in the chat when they said the stroller pusher. If you are in New York, summertime, right here, it's prime time. You can go to any affluent area in the middle of the day, and you're gonna see a whole bunch of Caribbean women pushing white kids in strollers. Now, I've seen a handful of like African women, and I've seen even a smaller handful of like Indian or people of color of baby nurses, but the overwhelming majority are them Caribbean women, and that's why they got on that bus and did what they did instead of doing what Sister Breuck did, because it's almost an automated response. They understand that flirting with those type of men equates to potential opportunities. Money. Yep. So I'll leave that there. And I saw this firsthand, like I said, my past life, not just meeting them, but when I at one point in time, I did work for these white families that practice Judaism. So I've been in their homes doing work. I've seen these extra quote unquote rooms. I've also seen the children that look like the baby nurse, but don't look like the wife. So this is very, very real. So that's that. Secondly, again, I want to apply some more psychology and sociology to what we heard in those street interviews. And again, this is not a science. This is not backed by data. This is just the Divine School / Cheyenne Bryant School of Sociology and Psychology. It's honorary doctorates for everybody. But here's the point. Growing up in New York City, you find that even from Caribbean women, they will tell you that some of the most notorious cheating men on the planet are their men in their Caribbean cultures. So I want to bring y'all attention to that Jamaican man that was interviewed. And he said, oh, I'm here. I'm on my way to my doctorate. And essentially, it was half the time that it would have took me to get it in Jamaica. And then she asked him, well, do you want to go back? He's like, no, I moved here and I love it and I have no remorse. But when she said, well, if you got the opportunities that you got here in Jamaica, would you move back? And he said, well, you know, if they're going to pay me as much as I'm getting paid here, which we know would never happen because it's not the same economy, but he landed with this. He said, but I love my country. So what the hell am I talking about? Why did I even make that connection? Because here's what I want to tell you is baked into the crust of their culture. Again, there's not backed by science. There's the School of Divine and Cheyenne Bryant. There is a cultural proclivity and ability that Caribbean, specifically Caribbean men have to live separate and double lives while convincing themselves it is okay because they love them both. Even if they're doing the other one totally dirty, somewhere in their mind, they have the ability to convince themselves that they love them both. Even when one is getting all the attention, resources, and commitment. That is something that is specifically Caribbean. If you've been around them, if you've spoken to them, and some of you maybe lesser than this when we're talking about, you know, their proclivity to be able to think they love more than one person or more than one situation, you've heard, and this is something that I've said before. The proudest ones amongst them are never in their homeland. That's not a coincidence. Like, that's their culture, right? They've convinced themselves that, yes, I'm in America, I'm cosplaying you FBAs, but I still love my country. Oh, where you live at now? America. When's the last time you've been back? I can't remember. You going back? Probably, yeah. One day I'm gonna retire there, but they never go back. And again, I said this on the bridge too. There's a difference between having liars in your culture and having a culture of lying. They've gotten real good at lying to themselves that now it's a part of their culture, and they get mad when you don't believe the lies that they told themselves that they believe. And this is the psychosis, right? This is the psychology of a lot of these Afro immigrants, right? And here's why, and I'm landing on this because pinpointing another interview. Sister Breuck asked this question. So it's two more points I'm gonna make, but I'm gonna combine them into one so I don't be long-winded. Sister Breuck asked, why did that Trinidadian not go back home, but she hates the country? Remember, that was in the 80s. That's the precursor for one of the foundations of Pan-Africanism.
Mm-hmm.
You live here, but you hate here.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds perfectly sane when filtered through the religion of Pan-Africanism, because that's what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to live here and milk this country for all it's worth because of everything they've done, even if you hate it. And it's okay.
In Babylon.
It's okay for you to openly hate it and still live here and reap the rewards and benefits. And Pan-Africanism's foundational mission was to get as many foundational Black Americans to adopt that mentality as possible. Because when and if we did, then all the Afro immigrants that come in and do the same would be considered normal. And/or will be co-signed by us. That would be okay to do. And I'll land on this one because it was kind of a common theme throughout all the conversations when they were talking about how much they like it here, but still love their homeland. Here's something that's key that was not going on in the 80s in the way that it happened in the 90s, and now it's running rampant in the 2026s or the 2020s. See, in the 80s, most of those children, they were first generation, right? Those are the ones that were brought over here. And because they were children, many of them had not gone back yet. So what am I saying when I say that? They were still able to have and express their love and pride that was actually real by my estimation, by my psychological assessment, because they were just from there. They just came over. They liked what America had to offer, but they still loved their homeland. You want to know why they still love their homeland? Because they didn't go home yet to have their brethren tell them, oh, no, you're not Jamaican no more. You're not Trinidadian no more. You're not Caribbean no more. You a Yank. And what happened to those people that we saw in the 80s through the 90s to the present day is that they got a constant drumbeat. When and if they ever tried to go back home, of those people telling them, no, you're no longer us. And we're no longer you, but when you send in that barrel. And whether the barrel came or not, we still not you and you not us. And so they did a masterful job once they understood that that was set in stone by their own people to cosplay and get in good with us. So I'll land on this. A lot of the frustration, the vitriol, the anti-foundational Black American rhetoric that's coming from these Afro immigrants that we saw symbolically getting interviewed in the 80s is because now they have nowhere to turn. They're a rebel without a cause. Because they already know them brethren is like, no, you ain't us. And now the people that they convinced themselves that they are now telling them too, like, you're not us either. So I've said this before about us, right? If you're able to be me and you're able to be you, then who am I? Nobody, right? Now think about it from the Tether's perspective. If I can't be the people of my homeland and I can't be the people of the homeland I immigrated to, who am I? And that quagmire is what they're expressing. And when they get mad at us, that's them projecting the manifestation of them coming to the realization that now they just got to be who they are and they got to find out who they really are. Because for a long time, they haven't even been them. And so much so, I don't even think they know who they really are.
Cooked and fried in hot grease. For real, for real. Shout out to Intrigue 1129. On behalf of Sister Breuck.
Shout out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, recently, you guys paid a visit to the Daily Wrap-Up crew.
Yes, we did.
Let's play the clip. And why does this thing keep happening? What the hell is going on here? What's going on here? God damn it. Hold on, y'all. Give me a
All
second.
kind of weird perspectives.
What's wrong in here?
I don't know. The last time it was just 3 of us on the bridge. That might be, they like, hold on.
Yeah, I think that's the first.
I don't know what's going on here. But anyway, we'll play the clip and we'll let y'all delve into, all that took place. Sister Breuck, please don't forget to mention that they can watch the whole thing on,
on their
all right?
Patreon.
All right.
Dirty Black American?
You have no culture. Nancy, you've been here, born here.
I think American black people are of the most lost black people in the world.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't do Americans. I need somebody with culture. I'm sorry.
So you're American. You're straight American. You got no culture.
Americans don't have culture. I got culture.
We got
like,
the culture. We are the culture.
Yeah.
It's easy to take our culture for granted because it's like trying to explain to a fish what water is. They were just born in it.
We are the default black in this country. This is our country.
A diaspora war is what's going on in South Africa right now. So it's not a war. It's us finally checking the disrespect.
What's your culture? What they eat in Europe? I don't know. You know why? Because your culture is grilled cheese. Your culture is mullet and trailer parks.
African American, as of 1997, is not an ethnic group. A Haitian American is an African American. A Jamaican American is an African American. A Ghanaian American is African American. A colored person is African American. And foundational Black Americans are African American.
Jewish people are white, but in order to get that money from that Holocaust, you delineated from white American culture and called yourself Jews.
That's right.
Why we can't do that?
The U.S. government and the Korean government get together, and that is how you get the monopolies in the beauty industry that you have today.
We are like a freight train moving 100 miles an hour because we're not playing.
I'd rather be divisive than indecisive.
Okay. Okay. The team pulled up and came through.
So y'all can watch it. Watch it on Patreon, y'all. Let they subscribers jump up this month, you know what I'm saying? Because we on there so they can have us back. Because we definitely need to do a part 2. So I want y'all to show them some love. They were so kind and warm and welcoming and open to hearing everything we had to say. It was, even though, and this is what I said during the live when I was in the lobby, and I wasn't gonna tell y'all where I was at, and I cut their names out so y'all didn't know who I was talking to when they walked up on me. But even though the actual area where it happened, you know, there's been some hostility toward foundational Black Americans there. The hosts, Jew and Eli, were just amazing. You know, they were amazing, and I look forward to doing it again. I'll let President Devon talk before we go into it deep.
Yeah, no, I think I saw somebody ask the question in the chat while it was going. Just, you know, so y'all know, the main host, which I guess we could call him Eli. You know, I guess Eli is the main host, right? Because I think he's always in the chair. So Eli is foundational Black American.
Yes.
The host the other host that joined us, his name is Jew. Jew is bi ethnic. He is foundational Black American and Jamaican. And the host that was not there, but it wasn't because we was there. He had prior engagement. The other brother, I think his name is Ace. Ace is a Caribbean. I just don't know what country or island he's from.
But he wasn't there.
But he was not there, correct. So that is the breakdown. I know somebody asked us. I want to make sure we got that full, that full transparency. But also for full transparency, this conversation was something that they had reached out to us for, mainly Eli, because of the disrespect that was going on. And what was happening is that he was kind of like in the middle of his wake-up call, right? Like we all have reached it, and we all have had it. And come up on it at different times, and we're all at different levels and different stages in this game and during this renaissance. And he just couldn't understand the disrespect. Like he couldn't understand why it was happening, why all these people was talking spicy about our people. And what he said was, when he reached out to try to find people to come onto the show, a number of them were bi-ethnic. And then he found out that much of his circle was Caribbean or Afro immigrant, and he didn't even know. So that's when he had to reach outside of his circle. And then, he was pleased to find out that, we stand on lineage business, that we in these streets doing the work, have a track record of doing it. So he was, he's very pleased to have us. We was able to have a conversation that was no holds bars. As you see, that's just the tip of the iceberg. We went into so much of the conversation. I know half of it was filmed for, public consumption. The other half is for Patreon. I think that's what's up right now. So please, check out the Patreon, support them. And it's not because, well, I don't know if Breuck made any deals, but I don't have no deals with them brothers and their Patreon. So it's not us saying it because we get a cut. We're saying it because they need to know that this level of conversation has interest. People are interested. I'm messing with you. People are interested in it. So if we drive those numbers up on the Patreon. And then when they do release the portion of the conversation that is going to be for public consumption, we run those numbers up too. They will be forced to have a part 2 because there is much of the conversation we did not get a chance to go into. And I'm telling y'all, we was up there for hours. And as y'all know, that's just how deep this conversation is. And here's what's so profound about it. And this is what we talked about that in the conversation. And we talked about this with you guys on the bridge when we talked about pulling up to the Caribbean corner on Utica. Far too many of these conversations are trying to be had about us without us. And so Eli wanted to make sure that his platform was used to have a conversation with foundational Black Americans solely, with just us talking about us. And so that was just such a pleasant conversation. Y'all know me, and y'all know Sister Kiesha as well. We don't have no problem. I'm not saying Sister Breuck can't handle smoke, but she don't like it. But I have no problem if they bring some of those same people back, or if it's new people. It don't matter to me. Anybody could get it. This smoke is ready to eat for everybody. EP for every Pan-African. But whoever wants it, they can come up there and I'm good. And so, if the next conversations are some level of a debate or some mixed crowd or whatever the case is, understand and know we will still get up there and represent. But he definitely did say that he was interested in a part 2. And so, like I said, if we show them the engagement on these conversations, definitely a part 2 will probably be guaranteed. And so I think that should be more exposure for us as a family, more exposure about this movement, more talks about this foundational Black American Renaissance. And it's just powerful now because, Sister Kiesha said something to me, which prompted me to get a TikTok before I had one. And she told me, and so Sister Breuck at the same time, she was like, foundational Black Americans are not a part of the algorithm. Foundational Black Americans are the algorithm. And what we're finding out is that, as most of us already knew, they always, we always get on something and make it hot. But at this point in time, foundational Black American is the algorithm. Everybody is talking about us. And so what's happening during this time, which is a beautiful thing, is we are finally taking our place, our rightful place in the circle of life, right? Like, we are the ones, when this conversation happens, we're the ones having it. We're the ones leading it. We're the ones telling you what it is and what it ain't. And that's another reason why they getting so butthurt and why they are so upset, because for a long time, they was able to just hide who they were and be our representative and talk on us as if they are coming from a position of authority. Now, all they could do is talk on their people and come from a position of authority on being Jamaican or Haitian or African or Ghanaian or Kenyan or Nigerian or whatever. And what they're finding is that none of those groups are the algorithm. And that's what we're seeing with, even when we talk about Godfrey's podcast. Nobody gives a damn about that 154. And every single time that 154 comes on, you know who's being talked about? The group that ain't none of the 1 or none of the 54. They talking about us because they know that sparks and drives engagement. So shout out to y'all for all y'all support, for all the little tidbits and things that y'all teach us and share with us, because all of that was on full display. No one of us is bigger than the program. So this is always an us thing. There's always, us just representing us. And it's a beautiful thing. And when it comes time for you to represent us, we will gladly support you as you do that as well. So I'll land on that.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. And like I said, I'm just, thankful and appreciative that the family, has selected, me to speak for them on these type of platforms and support us in speaking and being the representatives in during these type of conversations. And it's not that I don't want the smoke of President Devon, is that I want to stay free and not go to jail, because my hands is rated E for everybody. And so that's the problem. Like, I could give you some smoke. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a problem. But once you talking too long, And we going around the mulberry bush too many times. Now I'm like, so what we gonna do about it? I'm like, after a while, I'm like, okay, so you saying this, I'm saying this. What you wanna do? What you wanna do? And being in a room with a Muppet baby who's sitting there talking about how Black Americans are dirty Black Americans. Oh, I don't even think I'm gonna talk after that. I'm like lunging. Like I'm going for it. So, so that's what, right? Somebody say easy, exactly. Like I feel like, y'all would want nothing less. Y'all want me to do something. Y'all want me to hit her in the mouth. Y'all so does she if she keep talking. That's how I feel. Anyway. That's why I'm like, let me not be certain. Yeah, I don't like, I'm all for respectful conversations. And understand, when we talk about Caribbeans and stuff like that, we definitely not talking about all, because we just had Black up here who is definitely Caribbean. He is not like that. I have friends that are Caribbean and they are not. Well, y'all know I got friends. Y'all see where I grew up. Y'all see the area I grew up. So I got friends that are Caribbean, that are Trinidadian, that are Jamaican, that are Haitian, that are not like that. But unfortunately, you don't hear their voices. They are not loud. They are not speaking. They are not the ones in the forefront. They are not the ones driving the conversations. They are not the ones online. They are not the ones in our politics. They are not the ones. They are not the ones. They are not the ones. Therefore, and they are, and come on now, so all my friends and that I got y'all ain't taking them down either. And so since you're not taking them down, I apologize that y'all gonna get some of these strays, but we're gonna talk about y'all friends and family that is popping shit. And if you don't want us to talk about your friends and family that are popping shit, then you get them to stop popping shit. Because as long as they pop shit, I'm gonna pop it right back. And I guarantee you, when I pop shit, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. And we're not playing. Like I said, I've said constantly, when it came to Lajes, you know what I'm saying? Where were y'all?
True.
Where were y'all? When President Devine reached out to over 50 Caribbean organizations, where were y'all?
Yeah.
We're sitting here dealing with this unconstitutional reparations commission. Where are y'all? Not one of y'all have come down there and testified that we deserve what we deserve. But we do have weirdo Jamaicans. Well, it's a Jamaican 1 minute and from South Carolina the next minute with the trinkets of human trafficking in her hair. Sitting there popping shit about who created hip hop and whatnot. And this is the problem. This is why we have to address these things. And if you think I'm not going to address them just because I'm friends with you and I love you, you are sadly mistaken. You are sadly mistaken. I'm going to address it just as I would. And if you know me, which you do, because you're my friend, you already know I'm not the one or the two. And that's what we talking about. This ugly. I'm not going to call her ugly. This stupid. I will call her stupid though. This stupid weirdo. Look at her. Look at her. Look with the cowrie shells all on her neck. They sold you. That's the money that they sold your ancestors for. And you sitting there with it around your neck and in your hair.
And
don't you know?
She was a proud Jamaican.
Exactly, proud Jamaican, talking about how they stole. How they created hip hop. When I want to say stole, trying to steal credit. But you sitting there with. They would have sold you for less cowrie shells than you got in your hair and on your neck. That's about 100 human beings she got on her hair and her neck right there. 100 human beings. Did you see how I said that? That's not a term that I would necessarily say. You know where I got that from? That's what they tell you when you go on the tours. This umbrella, 100 human beings. This bottle, 50 human beings. That's what they say on the tours.
And then you're
so they know what they were doing.
Oh, go ahead.
No, they knew what they were doing. And I just wanted to say this real quick. Going back a little bit, President Devon, when you was talking about how you knew the Caribbean nannies, when I worked at the school, right? One of the parents, I will never forget this. She was like, she goes, I could get you a job, working as a nanny. And I was like, I don't want to do that. She was like, no, I think you would be good. You the way you are with the children, But see, I'm working in a school with Black children. Most of them was Caribbean children, but I'm in a school with Black children. I'm not in a school with white children. I wanted to help the children in my community. I did not want to be a mammy, a nanny mammy, a mammy nanny. I didn't want to be that. Mm-hmm. And so she was like, yeah, no, but you could make more money. And I was, I said to myself, like, there's other things that, it's not worth the money to be in their houses. We already know how they be touchy feely. I ain't trying to have nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? And I remember, saying that to somebody, like, we don't want, when they talk about, the jobs in the factories and stuff, Americans don't want those jobs. No, that's not true. Americans will take the jobs in the factories. They will, if you pay them enough, right? We're not going to take it for chicken change, okay? In the great words of James Brown, we ain't going to take it for chicken change, but we will work those jobs. The jobs that we don't want is the mammy, the nanny, and the cook in their house. Now, unless you do the personal chef thing where it's very upscale type of thing, right? You're a chef. But we don't want to do the mammy, the nanny, the housekeeper. We good on that. Those jobs we good on. And we good on it because we already know what it's like to be in their houses. We know from our, grandmothers and great-grandmothers what that is like. And we don't want nothing to do when those are the only jobs that they could get. We don't want that. That's what we don't want. And I remember somebody telling me, oh, so you won't do anything to support your family? No, I'll find another way. Gotta make a way. No. And they told me, and that person told me, and they are Caribbean, they told me to see the difference between you and I is I will do anything to support my family. Not me. I'm not gonna be the white tea man's flunky, mammy, nanny, housekeeper, sex surrogate, all those things. I will not do anything to support my family, but my family will be supported because God will make a way. The ancestors will make another way for me to be able to do that. I know I'm not going to have to get on my knees to make a way. And then, when you was talking about the barrels, now they be saying that what they put in the barrels ain't good enough. They want name brand stuff. Don't send me Payless sneakers, even though Payless don't exist no more, but you get the point. They'll send me Payless sneakers. I want Nikes. Don't send me store brand food. I want, the regular name brand food. I want name brand cans. I want name brand this. I want name brand. So now the people they don't even want to send the barrels no more because they like, yo, you ungrateful. I'm sending you know how expensive everything is here. I'm trying to send you what I can afford to send, and you telling me don't send me that. They don't want used clothes no more because that's what they used to sell back in the 80s. They used to send used clothes and don't send me that no more. I want stuff. I want to pop tags. And then when you were talking about the Pan-African community, remember one time somebody had came on Tariq's panel, and Tariq was like, what happened to the conscious community in New York? Delineation. See, y'all don't remember a while back, but when we first used to start coming on Thorough Black Talk, there was a gentleman that's a part of the Pan-African community. I guess he was friends with people who was at that conscious corner, whatever conversation that we popped up at and shame and spanked they behinds intellectually. He was a friend of those that we spanked. And he would come in the chat and he thought he was talking big shit. Big shit. Right? Because I was going I wasn't going because I was new to the bridge. I wasn't gonna sit here and talk. I couldn't talk shit on the mic because I was new to the bridge, but I was in the chat popping shit right back at him. And again, we had to, you know, I was like, where are you from? Where's your family from? To this day, he ain't answered me yet. And I kept copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy. Where you from? 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 Right? That's what happened to the Pan-African community. The question, where you from? Delineation has absolutely demolished the Pan-African community here in New York because we realized they ain't none of them Americans. All of them. Look at them. Look how the pills have gone after Tariq. And they've all took shots at Tariq. Look how the pills have gone after Tariq. Both of them. Whichever one you want. Okay. And now 19 Keys ain't part of the conscious community here in New York, but he's, you know what I'm saying? That's just another example. Professor Smalls. Now he's a foundational Black American, but his wife, the one who he sleeps with at night, the one who he copulates with, his children. That is why there is no conscious community here in New York. That's why. Aside from us, we stand alone on the bridge. And we will continue to stand alone. We don't need nobody else. Y'all don't have to, y'all have showed us that you are fair weather friends. As long as you could get something out of it, you was cool with all this kumbaya. But now, when we're fighting to get what we are owed in this country from this country, kumbaya is out the damn window. Out
now
the
you
damn
mentioned that. I got a question.
Go ahead.
At the hearings, is it an influx of white people who say we don't deserve reparations? Or
absolutely not.
Who is it?
It's the immigrants of all races. Hispanic immigrants, Caribbean immigrants, African immigrants. All of them are there to tell us what the hell we don't deserve, or to try to move our cultural cachet to their fight. We had, remember in Harlem, it was one Hispanic woman couldn't even speak freaking English. Come up there, needed a whole goddamn translator to talk about ICE or whatever the hell she was talking about. Bitch, get out of here. This ain't about you. And we ain't with you.
Mm-hmm.
All of them, the ACLU. And who did they hire? Somebody with a melanated, a deeply melanated face. I'm sure she's not foundational Black American. So they hired an Afro immigrant to come into every single meeting and pretend like she was talking spicy. She using a whole bunch of words, but she ain't saying nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Never stands with us on anything that we're talking about. But she's there. She is paid. Understand, she is paid to show up at every hearing. And I'm sure handsomely, to show up at every hearing. Mm-hmm. And the one hearing that she couldn't show up to, they sent a what probably was a small hat lady.
Right.
And she was actually one that was willing to hear what we had to say. Isn't that interesting? She was the one who was willing to hear us out. about, you know, what it really was and how it legally it didn't make sense. All of these things. So again, like I said, to the ones that are not like that, to the ones who, you know what I'm saying, is not like that, y'all voices are not being heard. And it's looking like it's all of y'all. And I know it's not. I know it's not. But because y'all are silent and y'all are quiet and y'all letting the ignorant among you be the loudest ones in the room, it's going to continue to be like that. You take down Byron Donalds. You take down Kamala Harris. You take them down. You take down Jean-Pierre. Because that's one of the things that they were saying at that talk. They was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? We don't agree with them. So what the hell are you doing about it? And if you're not doing it, remember that was my quote. I said, so then if you see that their behavior is treacherous and treasonous, then what you mad about?
Right.
What you mad about? What you mad about that we is attacking y'all's traitors? What you mad about? You should be happy. Or you should take them down yourself. But you ain't doing that. And it's all good. You ain't got to do it because we gon', like I said, we a freight train moving 100 miles an hour. You have to get down or lay down. And the lay down is not a request. We will lay you down. Yeah, I'm done.
Brother Divine, or can I move on?
Yeah, you can move on. I just want to say something. It was said in the chat a while ago, but it's it's since now been gone. But I want to make sure I put it out there for the family. That Good Food Can Company, that is not a Foundation Black American owned company. That is a Jamaican owned company. So that Good Canned Foods Company is Jamaican owned and they're moving very, very, very nefariously, right? Because if that was a part of it, or if y'all buy ethnic, y'all could have just said it. What they did was, after people who kept pulling up the Jamaican receipt, then they deleted it and try to act like it don't exist. So either way, you just burnt your bridge of good faith if y'all was, buy ethnic in any way. So now you just a Jamaican owned canned good company. And for those that want to support it in that manner, that's cool. But we're gonna stop this concept of Afro immigrant owned businesses being the same thing as Foundation Black American owned businesses. And the biggest, and in my opinion, most important difference between the two is that Afro immigrant owned businesses take your Foundation Black American dollars and funnel them outside the country to their homelands in the form of those same barrels we've been talking about, and or to build their retirement homes in their homelands for those that do go back. So if
you mean to get scammed on them retirement homes?
Right. The whole concept of us buying black, which means buying foundational black, is because it keeps it in our community and helps us to build it up and create economic strongholds. Supporting any foreign immigrant business does the exact opposite, because they are dedicated to their people, not ours. Mm-hmm. So even if they're your friend and you like the food, I'm not saying don't ever. I'm just saying understand and know that when you do make that purchase, it is something that just count those dollars gone, right? And, we make those decisions every day. I'm not downing anybody for it. I'm just saying understand that does nothing, even if they have melanin, to build up the communities and have that wealth transfer that we're talking about going to our families. That does not happen when you support a Caribbean business or an African business or Afro-Latino business or an Asian business or an Indian business or an Arab business. That does not happen all the same. So I just want to make sure we put that out there.
And can I just add right on the tail of that? And remember who was against the boycott, who refuses to stand with us in it. There, it's the Afro-Caribbeans that are sitting there talking about, I'm gonna eat Chinese food whenever I feel like it. So why? And here's the thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, you know, why would we then take the money from that community? Because they're just gonna give it to the community that we're trying to take it from. They're gonna support them when we don't. And this is the problem. Whenever we have something going on, you guys don't want to, you don't want to involve yourselves in it. You guys don't want to involve yourselves in the fight, but then you want to profit when we're trying to matriculate the money in the Black community. You can't have it both ways. Either you stand with us in the boycott or you don't. You can't profit if you're not a part of it. You're not a part of it. You just want and this is the problem. It's this one-sided bullshit. You want to take. You're not giving nothing into it. Okay, let's go on because I want to keep going.
Well, I just want to say this one other thing. Yeah, because I know we got a whole presentation to get to that we didn't get to last week, so we're gonna get to it today. But I want to just put this out because I think Sister Farnessa said this. I was gonna save it for the end, but I just want to make sure I told the family now since she brought it up. Unfortunately, for the parade, the floats are sold out. So we were looking to have a portion on the website where y'all can say, okay, this donation for the float. Now you guys can still donate for any other cause or whatever you want. We are looking to still try to put some things together. We still will be in the parade. That's 100%. But we'll be there. If we're going to secure a vehicle, print out a huge Black American heritage flag to put on the side of a vehicle. We're still looking to do some things, but unfortunately, at this point in time, which is a good thing for the parade overall, obviously we don't know if any of those floats are going to represent our culture like we would do it. But shout out to the parade that is growing. All the floats that they make available are sold out. I had a conversation with the one of the organizers the other day. I think it's the old man that we made some inroads with as well. And he was just telling me, some of the things that was going on this year and just, how much progress they've made and how big it is now. They got to go through the headache of organizing all 30 plus floats that they got in there now. So unfortunately, the floats are done. It's definitely too early to start donating for next year. So I'm not even going to say nothing like that for our float. But what I will say is, we are still looking to do some stuff. So if it's still on your heart to give, it will be put to good use. But unfortunately, I want to make this announcement so the family knows we don't do none of that other stuff that other people is out here doing. We're not going to tell you, hey, we crowdfunding or looking for donations for a float, and we know when the floats ain't available. So we didn't want to do that. So there will not. Well, I'm not saying it will not be a float this year. The ancestors move in mysterious ways. We won't ever rule it out. But at this point in time, it does not need to donate toward a float because at this point in time we cannot procure a float. And unfortunately, the way the parade is set up, they don't allow you to get your own third-party float and bring it in. They don't let you do that. They give a certain amount because they know the certain space they have and what they're able to accommodate. So they don't allow anybody to just willy-nilly be able to bring one in that could be a different size, different logistics, and that kind of thing. So just want the family to know that so that we could be above board and transparent.
Well, I'm going to say this. You never know what could happen, right? And we might have to move quickly to secure a float. If one becomes available, right? We're going to have to move quickly to secure the float. And if we ain't got the funds, we may not be able to do that. So I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Because, people pull out. People, sometimes things happen and they might hit us up and be like, yo, we got one. You got the money? So, donate. No matter what you do, the money is going to go to a good cause because, whether we use it for the float or we, save it for the float next year, whatever. It will, I see President Devon's face and it made me look at the chat. Let me stay focused. whether we use it for the float this year or we could use it for the float next year. That way we could be early, you know, we're securing our float since, you know, it is growing and, you know, they selling out quicker than usual. Right. So I just want to say, you know, please keep, you know, President Divine is, you know, he wants to be completely transparent. I'm gonna be completely transparent too. It's a chance that an opportunity may come up. We need to be able to have the money for it. So, you know, I'm just saying.
And to answer that question, Sister Farnessa, absolutely. That's something that we that's been in the works. That's something that we are brainstorming about doing, you know, because, you know, surprisingly enough, you don't need a lot of people. You don't need, you know, like you don't need a lot. In fact, I think it's down maybe just a couple of years old. It might be 5 years. I don't know the exact number of years, but and I don't know what's going to happen in 2027 with everything going on with TPS. But outside of the Labor Day parade, where the West Indians get out there and show their ass, literally, the Haitians actually have their own parade that they created and got funds and permits for, and there's not a lot of people. And I think it's in May, if I'm not mistaken. So yes, we are definitely looking to have our Foundation Black American Parade eventually here in New York as well. We're going through the logistics of that, finding out what the specifics, what that would take and stuff of that nature. So yeah, that's definitely something that's looking to be done. And hopefully as we continue to build this thing out, we continue to grow and the awareness of our people, you know, wakes up. Because again, despite popular belief, obviously not in New York City alone, but in New York State, Foundation Black Americans are still the largest ethnic group. When talking about the other heavily melanated people groups. Say it again.
And the most ignored.
Right. Yeah.
And the most ignored.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we still have the numbers here. And so hopefully on a situation like that, it will be something where we would be able to put something together that's so powerful, so ethnically positive that our people would come from the Newburghs, from the Uticas, from the Binghamtons, you know what I'm saying, from the Buffaloes, right? From around New York State. That would be powerful. And we could definitely see that happening. And I think, and this is just me, you know, I hate to use the word manifesting, but this is me kind of projecting forward a little bit. I don't think us going around the state of New York for all of those hearings and meeting people and organizing in each of these areas was for nothing. You know, the ancestors really move in mysterious ways, and we actually have contacts in each of those areas now because we have gone there for this reparations hearing, reparations commission. So, you know, we'll see. I would not, you know, put it past that we could build something and have all of New York State come down to New York City for a Foundation Black American Day Parade. And then at that point, now we run the show. So we get to say what goes and what doesn't go and stuff like that. And that's eventually what we want to do in every arena, every aspect, every cultural representation. Because as we can see, whether it's the parade, whether it's British Panther 3, whether it's, you know, whatever, you know, is going on around the country, we see that, you know, our leaving our representation in other people's hands is always going to be a net negative.
So, just to go back a little bit, you know, I talk about this one because I really did have to keep her calm so she didn't bust heads and go to jail this day.
Show it.
And it wasn't just her. You know, Ray Winbush almost got his head busted. Greg Carr almost got his head busted. Because the aunties in the free in the U.S. Freedom Project wasn't playing. The security came over to me and asked me if I could keep them calm. They grown people.
Sure did. Oh my God, I forgot all about that.
You forgot that. Because I knew the head of security.
Right.
She came over, she said, could you please try to keep them calm? What? They grown folks. Well, what you want me to do? But
she was
the
like,
Cabby Shell chick.
she told me I wasn't allowed to come back. But she was joking. She was joking.
The Cabby Shell chick, she got up, proud Jamaican. Now she Gullah Geechee. This is what she's spewing now. That she Gullah Geechee. This destiny swapping is real. But I'm gonna play this. Shout out to Miss Kathy Dean. Hold on.
My name is Breuck, and I just want to remind everybody that reparations is back payment for services rendered. If you weren't here and you did not render any services during slavery, you do not qualify for reparations. Nationality and citizenship are loud conversations today, while people are flying, boating, walking, riding into this country in the pursuit of U.S. citizenship. None of these groups share the centuries-long history we have on this land. None of them fought this government and won. None of them are owed a red cent by this nation, but the freedmen are. Freedmen, that's the title this government gave us. Foundational Black American, that's the name we chose for ourselves. We are Americans. How dare you fight for others to be called American, yet refuse to acknowledge who we are and call us by our name? We are foundational Black Americans. We were here before the U.S. was formed, before this was even a destination for immigration. We built this nation. This country wasn't a place that people longed to come to, not at first. Even Europeans didn't want to immigrate here willingly. Many were sent by force, prison or exile. That was the bargain. They were sent here because this land was not desirable, not until we turned it into something that now the world fights to enter. Call us by our name. We are the freedmen. We are the foundational Black Americans. No disrespect. No disrespect to continental Africa or Africans, but how many of them are dying to come to America and become what we already are? Aren't thousands, no, millions of them fighting for American citizenship right now? So again, call us by our name. The refusal to recognize us by the name we chose is giving white racist Cassius Clay Muhammad Ali energy from skin folk who clearly aren't kinfolk. In today's climate,
Thank you, Brooke.
Whoa. Fire. 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 By the time I got up there, they cut me down to 60 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
So, I did what I could in 60 seconds.
Divine, too. I think
Out
he
of
got
everybody.
60 seconds, too. Mm-hmm.
I told them, all of you are compromised. All of you. Not some of them, all of you. And I'm going to say it here again, all of them are compromised.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm lying, sue me. Let's go. Let's go. I got discovery. Let's go. Let's go. I want all the smoke. Because I know where you get your bread from. I know who you sleep with. I know where your bastard babies are too. So don't mess with me. Don't do it.
Babies. Oh, Jesus.
Don't do it. Don't do it. So that's all I can do in 60 seconds. But again, when you come to these hearings and you see us standing on lineage business for us, and then people who look like you come in to usurp that, that's a problem. Not just regular folks, but the politicians, the city council, the legal team,
James Sanders and his coon self.
Yes, seersucker suit. First time I heard Brooke say that, I was on the floor. Because it's so right. It's so right. We in, what was it, Rochester? We got Kathy Hoku legal team. He's dropping on our conversation. They couldn't take it no more. They got up and asked, well, we went past them. What was y'all talking about? None of your goddamn business. None of your goddamn business. So, again, when y'all were donating to Sister Breuck, she was making sure we got up there. Got back home safe. Because it's a lot of gas money to go almost 8 hours away. Right? That was like almost 8 hours to Rochester.
It was almost 8 hours, yeah. And back.
Not to mention the white tea that was messing with us. And I said that to Sister
Oh,
Breuck.
yeah, because don't
I know what
forget
it's like
that.
up here. I know what it's like up here. And I told no lies. Go ahead, tell them, Brooke, if you want to.
Yeah, because, well, I can tell it now because it's already over. But, yeah, y'all, I didn't tell y'all back then, but I got 2 speeding tickets on the way back. I wasn't going over 60 miles an hour. The speed limit kept going up and down, and it's so dark out there. I wasn't paying attention to the speed limit sign. I just didn't see them. And they got me for going over the 30. I think I was doing like maybe 40. They got me for doing that. I got 2 speeding tickets on the way. So not only did I have to pay for the gas to go up there, I had to then I had to pay for 1 speeding ticket. No, matter of fact, I had to take a class and pay for the ticket. I had to take a class. I had to pay for the class and the ticket. And then the other one, I had to go right back up there for court. They forced me to go up there again for court. So then I had to pay to go up there for court and then pay the fine that they gave me because, you know what I'm saying? I had to pay that. Like, so, when Daniel, when Brother Dan, when he first started saying, put your Cash App out there, it's because people behind the scenes, knew all of this. And I didn't necessarily want to talk about it until, after it was all cleared up. But they knew, how much financial subtractions was happening to me just because I refused to miss a hearing because it's upstate. And so that's when we started renting cars. When y'all started donating, that's when I started renting a car to go up there, not using my own car. Because I realized, possibly they were taking my license plate down, you know what I mean? And and things like, oh, don't forget the tolls. Don't forget the tolls to go up there and back. So yeah, it was costing me. It was costing me. And then we ain't eat nothing. So yeah, it was costing me. So yeah, I definitely appreciate all of the donations that that y'all send in because it definitely helps me for things like that. And basically y'all reimbursed me for that experience right there. You definitely have, and then and that gives me because I know you're supposed to say these people, you're supposed to shout these people out. Thank you, SLLE Slee. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you, Cyberdyne. Let me tell you something. Cyberdyne been donating regularly, and I definitely appreciate it. He definitely helps out a lot. Like Cyberdyne, you are a valuable member of the team at this point. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely want to shout you out. Who is this other person? I'm trying to see them. I'm not used to this, so bear with me. Who's this other person? Gary Williams, thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate you. So I definitely appreciate you. But Sister Kiesha, we gonna get to that to the presidents because I really want to hear that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna get to the presidents.
The nerd in me is so excited.
Because hold on, I gotta stop sharing what I am. Because I wanted to
I've been waiting.
share this really quick. The Ratcliffe family. These are Black ranchers, and they have their own meat distribution company. We're gonna play this, and then after we talk about them, we get into the presidents.
An advice to consumers who are consuming beef and other meats as well, but beef is one I'm more familiar with. American beef is good. as long as we process it in a facility that's capable of capturing the taste with it and has all of the hygiene matters that need to be done in order to have a meat as a clean meat. Americans still raise, and I'm gonna brag a little bit, the best meat in the marketplace. I had the fortune to go to France last year, and they liked American beef. When I said I'm a rancher, oh man, y'all got some good meat over there. I said, well, we think so. If I were at this present time giving advice to consumers who are consuming beef and other meats as well, but beef is one I'm more familiar with. American beef is good.
This is the website. You can choose your plans separately. The plans look good to me, so that's up to y'all. But you can start your order, different cuts. You even get a whole cow. They do whole cows too. So, or you can have particular cuts. It's up to you. But this is 100% foundational Black American owned. So it's called Ratcliffe, RATCLIFF. Ratcliffe.
I'm gonna put it in the chat.
Yeah, put it in the chat. And check it out. Check it out. So we talked about negotiation. Because you have a lot of people from the diaspora. I don't like using that word. I will, because we're not part of a diaspora. So, let's see if I can share it. 1 second. 1 second. Okay. So, when people say they're not going to give you anything, we are master negotiators. We have negotiated with half of the presidents in this country. So a couple of weeks ago, I talked about Ulysses S. Grant and everything that he did specifically for Black Americans, not immigrants, not other white folks, Black Americans. For example, the U.S. Justice Department that was founded by Ulysses S. Grant for us to deal with hate crimes with the KKK. All right? So a lot of presidents also made their careers off of our suffering. And in that, we were able to negotiate different things. So I first started talking about President Chester Arthur. Before he became president, he was a lawyer. And he represented Miss Jennings over here, whose father is the founder, inventor of dry cleaning. She was asked to move to the back of the trolley car here in New York. She wouldn't do that. So they sued the company, and at that time, she was awarded $225 in damages, which in 1860 was a lot of money. Okay? So he became famous, and he continued to represent Black people in these type of cases. So when he ran for president as a Republican, or under the Whig Party, later became the Republican Party, he did a lot of things, specifically for Black people. One of the things that he did was work with David Ruggles. Now, if you don't know who David Ruggles is, you should.
You
He was
should.
an abolitionist, Black man here in New York who founded a detective agency and a greeting agency for runaway slaves. Because back then, Black people were kidnapped and sold into slavery. Free Black people. Let me make that clear. Free Black people were kidnapped and sold into slavery. As a matter of fact, when Fred Douglass, on his escape route,
that's right,
came across David Ruggles, he helped him. And you can read about it in his memoir. There was another Black man who was badder than David Ruggles. And his name was Louis Napoleon.
Spell that.
Now, here, hold on. Let me make this larger. See it there?
Oh, Napoleon. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now this brother, he had sway with a lot of judges. So instead of going to the judge, he went to Chester Arthur. And he said, we need some help out here. We need some protection out here. And so President Chester Arthur put out a message to the country, that he was not to be touched, that he was not to be harmed, that he had a vigilance committee. And that vigilance committee was to help his voters prosper. So during Reconstruction, Chester Arthur made sure that local law followed the law so that we wouldn't be hindered. So for example, if I go and open up, let's say a restaurant, you had police, firemen, judges, leaders of the Democratic Party who were part of these kidnapping clubs. So if Devon and his crew got a kidnapping club and they take me, he ain't going to jail. His crew ain't going to jail. If you don't believe me, instead of watching a movie, read about Solomon Northup, the movie 12 Years a Slave. That's one story in hundreds of thousands. So Napoleon was protected by Chester Arthur because David Ruggles, he used to catch the brunt of everything. He got beaten, his home set on fire, his office set on fire, and Chester Arthur said, no, we can't do that. These are free men. Free men with property and business. We are a contradiction if we do not protect them. Okay? So he put the word out that all members of the Democratic Party are to be watched. Okay? So again,
which party?
Say that again.
I said which party?
The Democratic Party.
I know.
So when I hear people say, you begging the white man, we're negotiators. They know who we are. You being here is because we negotiated for you. And if you walk downtown Manhattan, right off Canal Street, there's a little side street, Litspinard Street. And there's a plaque on the building, 36 Litspinard Street, dedicated to David Ruggles. Now everybody know about Harriet Tubman, but this brother got more people free than Harriet. Okay? He also recruited John Jay as a lawyer so they can get rid of habeas corpus. Because remember, back then, black people couldn't testify against white people in court. So how did they do it? They got these white politicians to secure writs of habeas corpus so that they can go after these kidnappers and these police officers. A few months ago, we talked about how many people came from the continent of Africa and were enslaved here. There's a book that was produced by the Schomburg Library, The Black New Yorkers, the Schomburg's Illustrated Chronology. And in that book, they talk about 500,000 maybe came to these shores. The rest went to the Caribbean and South America. So how did they keep slavery going on these shores? Kidnapping of free Black people. Remember, in school, you were taught about the Underground Railroad. You know about it. But nobody ever taught you about the reverse Underground Railroad, which is more prevalent to our story. So that's why when I go to these hearings, I make it known. Every testimony I've given, I made it known. Okay? So don't let these people tell you nothing. We've been negotiating. Currently, whether you like him or not, President Donald Trump is working in our favor by deporting these folks. Because immigration, no matter the color, has always been a problem for us in this country. Get the book, Back of the Hiring Line, Roy Beck. Get the book, The Invisible Coup, by Steven Schweitzer. Immigration has always been a problem for us. Go on Google and research the Office of the New American. Has always been a problem for us. And so I'm going to try every week to give some history about some of these presidents. Because there's more than half who did things on our behalf, including Ronald Reagan. So don't let nobody tell you no foolishness. They're not going to give it to you. The hell they will. So I'm going to land there because I don't want to be here at 12 o'clock tonight. Your thoughts on Chester Arthur? Oh, before that, though, we went to the New York Historical Society. And these two could tell you they have a hall of presidents. Research each one. Your mind will be blown. Research each one. So now we'll deal with Chester Arthur.
Oh, I thought you were about to play something.
Now I'm gonna wait till after y'all and then I'm gonna play it.
Oh, okay. Man, like I said, learning more and more about Chester Arthur is just is crazy, because I recommend everybody watching this on Netflix called Death by Lightning. It's a movie about what's the president name who was pew-pewed? The one before him. I can't think of his name right now. But it, you know, is about the president that was assassinated, and Chester Arthur was his vice president, and then, you know, him becoming president. So it's like, you know, I at that point, you know, somebody had put in the chat, you know, was he corrupt? He was in and out. He was in and out of corruption.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
He was in and out of corruption, because at the time when he became vice president, or when he was chosen to be vice president, he was rolling with some corrupt people in New York, right? but before that, he had done that case with the guy's daughter who invented dry cleaning. He had done that case with her. He was a lawyer on that case. So that was part of the reason why that president selected him to be with him, because he knew that he owed the fact that he was elected to the Reconstruction Black people at that time, because this is Reconstruction era. So he knew that he owed the fact that he was elected to them. He had promised, and he was I believe he was going to deliver. That is why they pew-pewed him. Now the movie puts a whole different spin on why he was pew-pewed, but we know the history of this country. And I think, like I said, that is just their way of trying to, fabricate a different reason for his pew-pewing. But yes, but the history and the history remains the same, that it did happen, and Chester Arthur. So then when Chester Arthur saw, even in the movie, it talks about when Chester Arthur saw what happened to the president, then he decided, to kind of move away from the corrupt individuals that he was working with in New York. So he was in and out of corruption. And that just lends itself to us having no permanent friends and no permanent enemies. We're going to work with whoever's going to work with us at the time. We can't always, just say like Trump. Trump has not always, been a friend to the Black community, to the American foundational Black American community. There were times where there were lawsuits against his family and his properties and things like that. But right now, I also saw videos from back in the day when he was telling the quote unquote Native Americans, now he was looking at them and saying, y'all don't look like no Indians to me. And that's a whole video. So again, in and out, you know what I'm saying? And then, he panders to his MAGA crowd. But then at the same time, he talks about how the 14th Amendment was made for the babies of slaves. And at the time when he said that, I just thought, like, my ears perked up at the fact that he used the term babies of slaves. He didn't even say all Black people. He didn't say it was for Black people. He said it was specifically for the babies of slaves. Like, that is oddly specific for a man that they keep telling us is stupid. And so, again, we have no permanent friends and no permanent enemies. And we're going to work with Trump on anything that we can work with him on, and anyone else when it comes to it, because like Kiesha said, we are master negotiators. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to sign treaties that put our people in bondage. We're not going to sign deals that put our people in bondage. We're not going to sign all these things. But everything that we do, we will negotiate for the benefit and the upliftment of our people. And I think that's also something just hit me. That's also something that the Democrats have tried to beat out of us. Right? The fact that you can't work with the Republicans, the hell we can. President Devine talks about how when the Democrats were here in New York and they was trying to get these illegals to vote before they were even brought in here by the busloads, by the coach busloads, okay, paid buses, by the coach busloads, they had to end up working, and shout out to gangster Reverend Phyllis Coachman. They had to work with the Republicans to smack that down. But the Democrats will sit here and have us believe that we can't work with anybody at any time. We can only work with them. And that's a religion of Pan-Africanism. You know what I'm saying? That they had a lot of us believing in until our eyes are open now, and we realize that we're gonna sit there, we're gonna, and shout out to Ice Cube. We really need to give him a little more love, because at the time when people were saying that Trump was this and Trump was that, he was like, well, I'm gonna take my plan. I'm gonna take my plan to whoever's gonna listen. Whichever side's gonna give me a meeting, I'm gonna take my plan to. And the Biden administration told him no. They just like Kamala. No. So, it's like I said, it's very interesting to me, and like, there may be a time, you never know. I doubt it, because there may be a time where we might be able to work with the Democrats. I doubt it. And the reason why I doubt it is because they were founded on, and when we saw this at the very same museum, no Negro equality. That's on the first Democratic ticket. Please look that up. That's on the very first Democratic ticket. No Negro equality. That's why they came into existence. They came into existence to make sure we didn't have equality. And I believe it is, that they are still standing on those ideals. That's why they allow immigration the way they do. They know that immigration ushers in gentrification, which ushers in pushing us to the back of the hiring line, which ushers in the only form of slavery left legal on this land, which is the prison system. They know. This plan is long term. They looking way out. And the Dixiecrats have remained the Dixiecrats. They just, have suits now instead of robes. They're not afraid to be in the room and shake hands with you. They don't mind touching you now. But they have remained the same. Their policies and procedures have been the same. And think about when Marcel was running in South Carolina. Who was the people that he was able to sit down and have civil conversations with about reparations? Who, once he explained, the difference between us and them, who were the people that was actually like, you made a point? Even racist as Tucker Carlson had to be like, look, they have been here 400 years. Again, we're not saying that these people are our best friends. We're not saying that these people love us. But what we are saying is we have no permanent friends and no permanent enemies. And we're going to work with who we're going to negotiate for the benefit of our people with anybody who's in a position of power to do something about it. Anybody. And if you don't like it, or you don't, and of course, the people that aren't from this country don't understand that. Or at least they don't understand it for us, because they do it for themselves. Because you don't negotiate from a place of strength. You get on your knees and scrub the floor. And clean up baby spit. And God knows what else as sex surrogates. So you're not negotiating from a place of power. And I'll land there because this looks interesting. What we got going on here?
So Chester Arthur got in trouble for the same thing Eric Adams did. Nepotism. Giving jobs to his friends.
Yeah.
Okay? Mm-hmm. So this is another case in which he represented a black woman. Right? Emmeline Lemon. Now that's not her picture. There is no known photograph of this sister. Okay. This picture was on loan from the Schomburg Museum. Okay? It's just like Napoleon. There are no known photographs of him. Okay? So they use this photo from Schomburg Museum. In her case, again, Chester Arthur represented her. She was traveling with a family who she was enslaved to. But they went to New York. In New York at that time, slavery was abolished. So, what's his name? Napoleon got wind of it. And he went to Chester Arthur. And Chester Arthur represented Emmeline. Okay? Let me see. I think I can play a little bit of it. And we'll come right back. Hold on. Let me see.
The Historical Society of the New York Courts presents How Emmeline Got Free, the story of the woman at the center of the landmark Lemon slave trial of 1852.
Trouble here, ma'am. But may I have a word with you, please?
Can y'all hear that?
You colored.
Okay.
Colored and free. I need to ask you a question. Do you want to be free?
And that was it. That was the moment that changed my life forever. My name is Emmeline Thompson, and this is the story of how my family and I got free. We were living on a farm in Virginia. It was me, my twin boys, Louis and Robert, my baby girl, Amanda, my cousin, Nancy, and her baby, Ann, and my little brothers, Louis and Edward. It was 8 of us in all. I was the eldest of the family. I just turned 23. We were being held by the Lemon family, Jonathan Lemon and his wife, Juliet. Those people worked us like animals on that farm and just used us every way they wanted. It was an awful way to live. But then one day, Miss Juliet brought us some news that made us realize that things could get even worse.
Emily, Nancy, you need to start packing up everything right now. The house, the barn, everything. We're all moving to Texas.
What's that?
Texas. There's some land down there we're going farming. Well, that's going to be our new home now.
But...
Excuse me?
Sorry, ma'am.
Hey, you girls get to work. Get packing.
Yes. And so, that's what we did. We packed everything up into wagons and we started out for Richmond. That's where we were supposed to catch a boat that would get us down to Texas. Texas. It made me sick just thinking about going down there. At least in Virginia, we could dream of escaping to the north someday. But down in Texas, there'd be no hope at all. It took us 17 days to get to Richmond. But when we finally got to the port, we were too late. They said the boat had just left the day before and there wouldn't be another one for a while. But then they said if we wanted, we could go up to Norfolk and catch a boat from there that would connect up with another ship that could get us down to Texas. And so that's what
I'm going to put the link in the chat so y'all can listen to her story. But I got this from the Historical Society of New York Courts. Okay? Now, Brooke and Devon will tell you, I don't play with my museum game. I get in places the average folk can't get into.
She sure do.
So, I don't play. When I found this, I'm like, uh-oh, I got to play it for the family. But you'll hear her story, at your own leisure. But you'll hear her story when she talks about what happened. But Chester Arthur represented her as well. So I don't want to hear from these tethers about you just begging the white man. No, we negotiated. That's how they were able to stay in political power. And then those black brothers said, we want some seats, goddammit. We wish to plead our own cause. And them Whig Party folks was like, all right. Because remember, the white woman didn't have the right to vote then. Black men had the right to vote before white women. That's why, see, they don't forget their history. You may forget yours. They don't forget. And they will lay in the cut and strike. I.e. the feminist movement. They've been pissed off with black men since them getting the right to vote. And they mad at white men because they tricked her out of the citizenship in this country. The first legal citizen in this country is a white woman, Susan Day. Okay? So she's been pissed off at the white man ever since. And roped your dumb ass in, telling you how bad your man is. Why is that? So I'm gonna put the link in the chat and y'all can listen to it later. But remember, Breuck said this is one of the first Democratic elections. At the top of this ticket, it says no Negro equality. That's the same mantra they live on today. I.e. Kamala Harris. No, I'm not going to do anything specifically for black people. No. Barack Obama. I'm not going to do anything specifically for black people. They understand the mantra. We got to know how to connect the dots. And don't forget, keep your foot on their neck. You understand? So I'm going to land there. Any more questions? And we can get the people up out of here. It's up to y'all.
I'll let President Devon go.
Yeah, real quick, I wanted to say, because it's kind of, we say these things, and let me just speak for me. I always say we, trying to rope y'all in or rope the family in. We say these things and we point out the facts and give the overarching story when the tethers try to tell us something about our history like they know better. But I love that these stories and these proofs of what we're talking about give the much needed context. So when we talk about this Lemons case, and I was, doing some reading and research, and I heard of it, but not as much as I need to know after you brought it up. So as I was brushing up on it and learning some more on the fly and looking at the eventual outcome and how long it took, what the family needs to know is that, spoiler alert, our own, right? So because we know the Haitians have their quote unquote Black Napoleon, and we know who that was and what he did and what happened with him, right? Our Black Napoleon was out here freeing people. You know what I'm saying? And standing on, and see, this is the key. And this is why I wanted to bring this up. He didn't free people based on benevolence. He didn't free people, and by people, our foundational Black American people. He didn't free our foundational Black American people, bless you, based on any favors from white folks. Mr. Napoleon was able to free those formerly enslaved of the Lemon family based on them being citizens. See, this is what we got to understand. Like, it was citizenship that set them free. Proving that they were citizens. And here's the key. Because I said this to a multitude of tethers you know, Tethernew being one of the main ones when we was in one of those rooms. Because I told him he tried to stand on the Dred Scott decision and claim that we are all 14th Amendment citizens the same as he and his family. But I told him then, and I love that this case was able to drive it home, that before, during, and after that Dred Scott decision, Foundation Black Americans were still citizens. See, that's the part that they need to understand, that Supreme Court case the reason why it was overturned is because it did not take away or negate our citizenship. It was the interpretation, a wrong interpretation, and the opinion of a white supremacist that not that we didn't have rights, but that we had rights that white citizens weren't bound to respect. And this case was won after that 1857 decision by the Supreme Court. See, this case becomes final in 1860. So not just the sister that's in that recording, her family, all eight of those enslaved that the Lemon family fucked up and found out by bringing them to New York. Their citizenship was restored. And the reason why it took to 1860, because they appealed the case. And it was upheld for the final time in 1860. But if we go by what the Tethers and what those white supremacists wanted to be the law of the land, we shouldn't even have any rights to bring the case. This is why you got to understand the context of history, what they were trying to do, but what was always the law on the books in regards to our citizenship. They have always been trying to take it away and or limit it. That's the fight. Like, that's what we've been fighting. Not to be citizens, but for you to get out our face and let us express and live in our citizenship that we have more than earned. And even to bring more clarity to the case about Chester A. Arthur, here's what's interesting. Now, I'm not saying Chester Arthur wasn't one, but his corrupt running mate was Roscoe Conkling. And Roscoe Conkling was an immigrant that immigrated to this country in the 1600s from England. So you had this immigrant running around telling Chester what he should and should not be doing after he had already stood on business knowing what was right. Now, I'm not saying he's not a grown man. He is responsible for his own actions, but that just goes to show you, right? Like, this immigrant from England came over, took him off his square because he was doing the right thing. And made him corrupt before, you know, James Garfield was able to bring him back to the fold and bring him back to himself to understand what he was supposed to be doing here. And the last thing I'll say about this before we give our final thoughts is this. To Sister Kiesha's point about us being master negotiators within this system. A. Philip Randolph was a master negotiator with two presidents, and in a way in which he strong-armed them to do something that they did not want to do. First with FDR, second with Truman. And he went up in there and stood on lineage business and was like, look, we ain't gonna have no discrimination in these hiring during wartime. To the point where FDR was like, yo, I'm mad that you said this because now this meeting ain't gonna go so well, and you should have came in here not speaking the way you were speaking. Because now, you know, you done messed up the atmosphere. I thought you was gonna come in here, buck dance a little bit. And A. Philip Randolph was like, I understand how you feel. But if you don't do what I say, there's going to be 100,000 foundational Black Americans in Washington. before this is all said and done. So now what you want to do? I know how you feel. Process those feelings, but get back to me on what you're going to do. And what he did was give an executive order that said we're not going to have no discrimination in hiring during wartime. And if that was not enough, he went back in with Truman and did the same damn thing on a different topic. And guess what happened? Truman signed an executive order on what A. Philip Randolph said to do. Not based on Pan-Africanism, not based on us all pretending we are part of diaspora, but him standing on our citizenship and lineage business. He walked into the office of the most powerful person, arguably on the planet, based on being the leader of this nation, and he told them what we was going to do. And that's the power of us when we stand on our lineage, on our citizenship, and not all this other bullshit that they've been trying to have us stand on and be the core of what we're advocating behind. What standing do we have being lost Africans in America? What stake and claim can we make after building the country and being able to document our lineage going back centuries on this land? Why would I ever sum that up to I'm just a lost African? I don't know my tribe. Y'all stole my language. Y'all beat it out of me. And I'm trying to get back to the continent. And y'all got to help me get back by paying me. That's what my reparations is. Help me go back to a place I'm supposed to have family, friends, cousins, aunties, and them and all that stuff. You need the government to pay you to go back. You could take your scraggly ass back right now, Pan-Africans, if that's what you wanted to do. I was listening to a debate by our brother Dave and some you might know him, since Kiesha, because you know all of these pan goofies. His name is what was his first name? I can't remember his first name, but Dr. Bakari Lumumba. And he's and this is what I'm this is the psychosis of these Pan-Africans. He's having a debate on identity, and he's citing other Pan goofies to prove that Pan-Africanism is a valid and effective ideology. What? Like what? And it's just it's beyond me. That's all. It's beyond me. Like this weird obsession with taking away our actual identity to fill it with this one that y'all created. And the Pan-African he cited was talking about how identifying as American is anti-black. And our brother Dave said, "Oh, but where did that Pan-African live and die?" He was like, "America." He said, "Oh, okay. That's it. What else are we talking about? What else are we talking about?" So being an American is anti-black, but you spent your entire life here by choice, when you had every opportunity to go back to your motherland if that's where you wanted to go. It's foolish. And I'm glad that the more they talk, the more they expose themselves and their religion as one of the most foolish things we've ever encountered or we could ever adopt as a core tenet of our being. So we can get to final thoughts after this video we won't play.
To Shaka Jones in the chat. Because I could say this. One, if you go on Amazon Prime and check out the movie Messiah, I'm an associate producer on it. So you'll see my name's in the credit. All right? About Garvey. All right? But I have to ask the question. Would you want an original Picasso or a printed paper of one? Which one has more value? I would ask. The original. Instead of a Xerox copy, right? I want you to go back and read what Garvey said when he first came here. When he first came here. In his book, Selected Writings and Speeches of Garvey, pages 14 through 16. And he goes in on the Caribbean. He said, we, the American Negro, is the best. He said, when he came here, he saw black men and women of industry and business that he's never seen before. So when people say, Garvey had a business, Garvey started a paper, he just copied what the hell he saw when he got here. We were already doing it. But see, this is what belief is. I think I said this last week. Belief and fact are two different things. A fact is something that can be backed up by evidence. The evidence is here. It's clear what he said in 1917 when his ass first got here. He said he traveled to California, Chicago, Pittsburgh, all of these different states and cities. And he said everywhere he went, the American Negro was supreme. He asked the Caribbean, where is your Fred Douglass? Where is your Booker T? He said, you have yet to produce him. In fact, when he came here, he came to meet with Booker T. But Booker had already transitioned. He was so in awe of him. In fact, he wrote in his Negro World about Booker T, saying how great of a man he was, how far-thinking he was. He didn't start shit. He copied what he saw when he got here. Read it for yourself. Don't get caught up in a feeling. Don't attach yourself to a legacy that is not yours. His legacy belonged to his children. One married to a white woman. Okay? Research your own family, your own history, your own genealogy. You might find even greater people in your line. But you're so mesmerized by a story. Well, here this man said. He said that the Caribbean is under the spell of Rip Van Winkle. He said, you can never compete with us. That's what he said. So again, I hate to bust your bubble, but your mans said it. We are the best. He said, all throughout scattered Ethiopia should get behind your American brother. That's what he said. He didn't go door to door to build the UNIA. He hooked up with black women in America who already had prominent organizations. And those women asked their membership to join the UNIA. Don't believe me? Get the book, Dr. Kiesha N. Blaine, Set the World on Fire, about the women of the UNIA. Don't get caught up in the feelings, son. Don't do it. Because feelings will make a fool out of you. And I don't want you to be a fool. I want you to be on point. Direct and on point. So I don't need to follow a copier. I follow the American Negro, who he said is the best. He applied for citizenship on this soil, not in Africa. You can Google that too. His application for citizenship on this soil. So, with that, we have come to the end of our program.
Hold on,
Council
wait. Don't forget me. Don't forget me. Don't forget me. Oh.
We come to the end of our program. Next week, I'll drop the link so y'all can come up on the bridge. Bring me your best. I'm her. Let's go. Guys, this is the Breuck.
Woo, that's gonna be interesting next week, honey. And I'll be able to control myself because I'm all the way over here and I can't put hands on you. So that I don't have to worry. And I'll just let y'all deal with that. But I can't wait to hear it. It's gonna be interesting. Yeah, come on, Shaka. Come back next week. Where's what's his name? Who was in the chat last week? Godfrey. Godfrey, come on back now. You hear? I just wanted to say, I also wanted to talk about somebody who we got streets named after him. We got whole whatchamacallits named after him, but they never talk about what he actually did. Adam Clayton Powell. He was another master negotiator. Not only was he a master negotiator, but he was a master at knowing people dirty laundry. Okay, so that helped him in the negotiations because he knew what all they was trying to do and whatnot. You know what I mean? So he knew all they dirty business. So, but it's just interesting to me how, but you know who wasn't a master negotiator? A master negotiator? Because what tell me one policy they came up with? Shirley Chisholm. I'm gonna just let that sizzle in your spirit and blink for a second.
One quick note. Shirley Chisholm got her job through nepotism as well. You know how? She was a speechwriter for several presidents. So they gave her the head nod to run for Congress in 72. I land there. Don't believe me? Read the memoirs of Eisenhower. He talks about it, but I'll land there. Go ahead.
And when she got that job, what did she do for Black people? But run her mouth. What did she do? Adam Clayton Powell we can go down the list of legislation that he was able to accomplish. We have right here on the bridge. Kiesha has done this already. Look back. What legislation did she bring that she has a park? You know, and we were talking about this the other day, just so we're not only talking about Caribbeans or whatever. Me and our President Divine was talking about this the other day. I live in Queens now because I was gentrified out of Brooklyn. I live in Queens now. Roy Wilkins Park is right down the block. What did he do? But stand in the way. He was working for the National Association of Certain People. He was the certain people. He was part of the certain people. But these are the names that they celebrate. Garvey, again, they got streets and whatnot named after him. We talked about how President Divine talked about how they removed Sumner, changed it from Sumner, someone who actually did something for us, to somebody who was a grifter and a scammer. Then that same idiot, whatever his name was, he's not even important enough for me to say your name right. Well, that idiot in the chat, you want to talk about Garvey working with the KKK? Exactly. But what did he do? Did he do anything to benefit the people? No. He was trying to work with them to have our citizenship revoked. That's what he was doing over there. It's not like he was brokering a deal like you stay over there, we stay over here. No, that's not what he was doing. He was trying to work with him so we could be deported. Sounds a lot like the people today in these chats. Wishing and dreaming and hoping and scheming to try to get us deported when you can't. Because we are the foundation of this country. Hence the name Foundational Black Americans. We were here, as I said in my testimony, we were here before this country was a country. We were here when this was just the new world. We were here in both capacities. We were here as free people and we were here as enslaved people. So that's when we say we're the indigenous, like we're not sitting there talking about to the beginning of when this landmass became a landmass. Who the hell knows who was here? As a matter of fact, even if you want to go back that far, Albert Perry, they didn't got his DNA. What? How many thousands of years before the first African? Tell me, Kiesha.
300,000 years on this soil.
So this was before. They saying that DNA goes back further than the African DNA. So how are they tracing us back to Africa? And then as y'all sit there and talk crazy about us being Americans and trying to tell us that we're not Americans, when all of you are fighting, running, begging, pleading for what? An American passport. You're coming over here pregnant, dying to come over here pregnant so that your child can have an American passport. And goddamn these Democrats, how dare they fight for everybody to be an American and then tell us we don't have no right to say that we are Americans. What the fuck? And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. You're mad because we're going to do and call ourselves, we're going to fight for whatever the hell we want to fight for. We're going to call ourselves whatever the hell we're going to call ourselves. And there's not a goddamn thing that you can do about it. And I'm talking to Afro immigrants. I'm talking to all the immigrants, including the Ellis Island white tea immigrants. There's not a damn thing you can do about it because there has been nothing that y'all can do doing about it this far. As long as we keep our eyes open and our eyes on the prize, and I've said this before, the reason why they're so loud right now, they're just mice on a sticky trap. They realize they're caught. We know the history, we know the background, we know everything. They know they're caught. And that there's nothing that they can do about it. So they just on the trap. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Help, 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 help. No help is coming. No help is coming. You can't get off of it. So that's all that is. And we are going to, as long as we see, it was only working when they were able to lie to us. It was only working when we believed the lies. It was only working when we believed the lie of Pan-Africanism. And now that we don't believe the lies, when they lied to us and told us that we weren't from here, they tried to tell us that we were generic Africans, when they lied to us and told us that we were shipped here from Africa, when they lied to us and told us that we were not indigenous to this land, when they lied to us and told us that we were not citizens of this land, when they lied to us and told us all of these things, and we believed that that's the only way they were able to get over on us. That was the only way that we were taking L's. When they lied to us and told us to pour libations to their ancestors. But now that we are calling our ancestors, now that we know the truth, now that we know our history, now that we know all of these things, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. You can't put it back in the bottle again. And that is why we are getting the motion that we're getting so quick that we're getting. And it's too late. And they're mad about it. They're mad about it. There's nothing you could do. There's nothing you can do. And we're going to continue. We're going to continue learning. We're going to continue digging up our history. We're going to continue learning and finding out more about ourselves because we are the most documented people on the planet. And we're going to continue. And you I don't know. God bless. Good luck. Because we're not fighting for you. You have shown us your souls. You have shown us the soul of a sellout. You have shown us the soul of somebody that will get down on their knees and serve white tea people against us. And that's something that we will never forgive. And we will never forget. And it is too late. You should have never, ever showed us your soul. Because we are the original soul people. We have real soul. And now you can no longer align your soullessness with our homegrown soul. And on that, I'll land.
Man, so I just want to go into a couple things real briefly. I'm at least try to be brief. Since Sister Breuck set the house on fire. We watched The Spies of Mississippi, and Sister Breuck connected it to what's going on. You want to go?
That,
yeah.
Well, the Spies of Mississippi is on the Patreon. Please watch it. It's free. I can't remember how many because I made it free for the next 7 days because I thought it was important for the family to see. Please watch that.
You want me to get the clip while he talk? Right. Want me to get the clip?
It's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to you.
It's up to you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So our Sister Breuck took that, got that did a watch party for that documentary, and she tied it to what's going on with our brother Nolan Wells in Mississippi. And I was watching a podcast by our colleagues in California. They do a podcast. I think it's once a month or twice a month. I think it's the last Sunday of every month, if I'm not mistaken, but it's called Politics in Black. And I wanted to take the time to elevate a story that most of us do know about, but it's kind of, with everything else going on, for a lot of us, it kind of has left the limelight. But it's also tied to that Spies of Mississippi and that culture of Mississippi. And that is the assassination of little baby Cohen that also happened in Mississippi outside the Walmart. And what we have to understand is that in watching that documentary, if you did not watch it, please, I implore you, go to our Sister Breuck's Patreon and watch The Spies of Mississippi. Because when we are uncovering and learning our history, like we did tonight, and brought up the Lemon case and all the stuff that we learned about our citizenship and Chester Arthur, like you see how much of the foundation of this country that we built we really are. But we also see the foundation of systemic racism that has stunted our growth, that they all pretend doesn't exist. Right? The white immigrants, the Afro immigrants, the white supremacists, and their melanated foot soldiers. They all get together and gaslight us into believing that what we know is the case is not the case. And so when we even think about little baby Cohen, that comes from a culture in Mississippi that says, regardless of whatever crime you may or may not have committed, the death penalty is on the table by way of executioner, and I get to decide whether I'm going to be judge, jury, and executioner on any given day. To the point where that police officer that conducted that assassination is not fired, right? And another law that is on the books, I'm not sure if it's all throughout any area where Walmart is, but currently at that Walmart that it happened outside of, it is the law that Walmart is only responsible for giving that footage to police officers. So even the legal counsel of the family cannot access that footage unless the police give it to them. And that's just a vestige of slavery and a vestige of that white supremacy in Mississippi, where they have been able to operate above the law because the white supremacists are a part of the law, right? And so, you know, this is something that as we continue to move this thing forward, that we, because we are so focused and on our square, if, and we know that the answer to this is already yes, so it's rhetorical, but just to drive the point home, if we were able to defeat a badge, an incident of slavery before emancipation, imagine what we can do now as we continue to stand on our citizenship as a lineage, as a family. How could we transform the face of Mississippi so that none of these things ever happen again without consequences and repercussions in Mississippi? We can do it, but it's going to take a concerted effort from all of us to do it. But we know, based on our documented history and constitutional relationship with this country, that we can do it. So that's why we will see reparations in our lifetime, because we were able to free the enslaved while slavery was still going on. I just let that sizzle in your spirit along with what Sister Brooke put in there. Like, think about that for a second. Like, don't gloss over that. Don't let that just be a passing comment. I think that's enough time. So the next thing I want to point out, in that receipt that Sister Kiesha brought up, I want us to never, ever, 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 ever be confused again with what the goal of Pan-Africanism was. And Sister Kiesha has broken that down a number of times, going back to Martin Delaney and how she broke that down and what it was always designed to be for. But let us never forget what the goal of the UNIA was. Not what I thought it was, not what I think it was, but what Garvey said it was himself. In that receipt that Sister Kiesha just showed, he said, I am in this country to raise money for my organization, the UNIA of Jamaica, to educate the Negro youth of Jamaica. See, this is the history that the Pan Goofies and the Afro immigrants, not even that they ignore, they don't even know. Whew. They just repeat what they're told. It's like going to them old churches where the pastor is reading and interpreting the Bible for you, but you claim you got a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And you ain't never read what he said. You don't even know what he said. That's the religion of Pan-Africanism. They worshiping Garvey, the continent, and them damn tribes, but don't even know what Garvey said about his own religion and what he was here to do. It was never designed to bring us all together. It was never designed to uplift all of us together. He was here, like every other Afro immigrant that has come here since, to extract our resources to send the barrel home.
Woo!
Never forget that. And now we got the receipts to pass that around. And see, that's the beauty of this movement. That the longer we stand on our square, the square that they're standing on, that they wanted us to stand on with them, continues to get exposed for what it really was. Not what you told us it was, but what we could see for ourselves that it always was. And I want to land on this because people have been telling me all damn day long that it ain't nothing. But I want to show you how and why it's something. And I'm talking about the British Panther. So I want to go and get on my soapbox just a little bit. So I know it don't mean a lot to everybody, but I want you to understand why it means a lot. Because people keep saying that, oh, it's a fictional character and Wakanda's in Africa. And you're mad that an African is playing an African. I wanted to tell y'all something. First and foremost, Wakanda ain't real. So Wakanda ain't in Africa. Because Wakanda ain't real. But you know what Wakanda was based on? The unity that those white folks that created Wakanda and Black Panther saw formulating in Black America. See, because if they really fashioned it after Africa, Wakanda wouldn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
There's no African superpower. There ain't even an African country that's close to being a superpower. Can y'all name me the African country that has full control of their resources and are using it to empower their people? That also doesn't exist. Wakanda couldn't exist if we gave them another 100 years. So Wakanda is not Africa. Wakanda is Black America if you took us and dropped us off on the African continent. Woo. So when you cast Chadwick Boseman, a foundational Black American actor, as Black Panther, you can't tell me that Black Panther is not a foundational Black American and that Chadwick Boseman is not Black Panther when the MCU killed T'Challa off in the movies because Chadwick Boseman passed away in real life. So he is the Black Panther. And the Black Panther is a foundational Black American. You want to know why Black Panther has to be a foundational Black American? Because can you tell me any African that will be willing to do for all the different tribes in his country the way Black Panther does? Every time we ask y'all about y'all leaders on the African continent, you start talking about corrupt. You start talking about how they're controlled by the white power structure. But you know who had leaders that were not controlled by the power structure, even while being the minority in a country controlled by the white power structure? Foundational Black Americans. You know who's the closest thing to a goddamn superhero you ever seen as an ethnic group? Foundational Black Americans. So when you kill him off because Chadwick Boseman died in real life, God rest his soul, and you put out a part 2 where you tease that another foundational Black American actor by the name of Michael B. Jordan might be the new Black Panther, and you hide the identity up until the movie comes out, Wakanda Forever. while playing a foundational Black Americans song in the trailer. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar. But then you tell me that this is an African story. I got questions. And then you go on to now cast another Afro immigrant to the UK as his son and expect us to just come out in droves like we did for part one. But remember, part one was a foundational Black American director, foundational Black American leads in Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan. We had the illustrious Angela Bassett and Forrest Whitaker in key roles. Even had Sterling, what's his name? Sterling K. What's his last name? I forgot his name.
I can't think of his last name.
Yeah,
but
yeah, Sterling.
But Sterling got the first name right.
Sterling was in the movie
Brother
as
Sterling.
well. Huh?
That was I was agreeing with you, Brother Sterling.
Yeah, Brother Sterling. That's what drove Black Panther to be $1 billion plus movie.
Facts.
Why? Because like my sister Kiesha told me, foundational Black Americans are the algorithm. So here's all I'm saying. This is my personal opinion. Not that you can't put a Afro immigrant to the UK as his son and have him be the new Black Panther. I'm not saying you can't do it at all. Matter of fact, Ryan Coogler, from what it said, he's the one that did the casting. So he could do whatever he chooses to do as a director. But here's what foundational Black Americans can choose to do. Support it or don't. And see, here's where y'all arguments fall flat. Because if we left it to y'all, because he's foundational Black American, and I'm foundational Black American, and we're just a group, any decision he makes, I would have to co-sign and agree with it just because he's foundational Black American, right? Wrong. I don't agree with this. So I will not support it. That doesn't mean I hate him or have any problems with my brother. I just don't support this decision. So guess what? If y'all made Hove, go make another Hove. So if y'all that great, and this is an African movie, and that's what really took it to 1 billion, then take this one to 1 billion without us. Because a lot of us are sitting it out because we're tired of the disrespect. This is a no-name actor out of nowhere. And mind you, to Sister Kiesha's point, and what we've been talking about all night about identity, I want y'all to just think about, let this sizzle in your spirit too. Foundational Black Americans are just lost Africans in America after being here for centuries if you let them tell it. But an African or Caribbean could move to the UK, immigrate there, and in less than a generation become a Black Brit. Somebody tell me the math on that. We still Africans in America after centuries on this land, documented. But Letitia Wright can move to the UK from Guyana and she's a Black Brit. David Oyelowo, he's a Black Brit. Damson Idris is a Black Brit. This other guy, David something about Johnson, I forgot, I don't know how to say his name, from Sierra Leone in Nigeria.
Idris Elba.
Idris Elba, right. All these Black Brits that ain't got no bones in the UK. This is the con game of Pan-Africanism that we're exposing. So again, let David be the Black Panther. That's fine. I'm letting it be known here that I personally will not be signing up or giving my foundational Black American dollars to go support British Panther. And here's the why I'm landing on. I remember the BAFTAs. I'm old enough to remember the BAFTAs. And since y'all want to be Black Brits so bad, I need you to own this British racism too. And not just because you're honorary Black Brits, but because when that white racist with Tourette's did what he did, it was you Afro immigrants to the UK that was caping the hardest. Y'all became Tourette's experts overnight.
experts
and found all manner of ways to justify on why his Tourette's wasn't offensive and wasn't really racism, and we crying for nothing. Okay. So now you, get the British market, get that Sierra Leonean market, get that Nigerian market, and get that illustrious African market as a whole. And y'all go support that movie and take it to the heights that you believe it deserves. And if y'all can get it over, Ben, I will support you, because that would be the first and only time I've ever seen Pan-Africanism work to elevate an African that's different than all the other Africans on the continent, but y'all still support it. So let's see what y'all do with Pan-Africanism. Because my money won't be going to that story, but my money is also on the fact that I don't think y'all got it in you. And I land there.
Cooked and fried. Sister Brooke put the link in the chat for the Patreon, because you won't want to see this watch party we had. Where my Kwame Ture fans at? Where you at? Where you at?
Go. I just want to show Kwame Ture in this video real fast.
And just over the period of
there he is.
That's when they roughing him up.
Okay, y'all see that?
He's not resisting.
You see that face, yo? I was watching it. I said, "Is that?" I had to rewind it when I was watching it the first time. I said, "Is that Kwame Ture?"
Now,
all right, okay. Let's finish. Let's finish seeing what he do.
over 2 weeks, you've had 50 major.
He got out of the Dodge. Hold on, we gonna go back.
Look at him. He getting out the way.
Oh yeah, there he go, right there again.
Wow, he getting out the way. Let it play. Watch him. Watch him.
Demonstrations across the country in all parts of the United States, not being created.
Kimberly Powell, she put in the chat, when the people were being put on the paddy wagon, the gates hit him and he moves out of the way. We put him inside with the others.
And that's I noticed that as well. She's absolutely correct. And let's look at that from 2026. Who really was he? You know, in that very same book that President Devine was talking about, where do we go from here? That he had me read. Dr. King talks about that he did not want did not want Stokely Carmichael to do certain things, and Stokely Carmichael did what he wanted to do, regardless of the consequences. So now, like, as we're seeing these little things, like, because that is very telling. So now we got two instances in one couple second video, right? We got two instances of him being moved out of the way and them attacking others instead of him. As he sits there and say, I walked with Dr. King. Think about these. I don't know. It's just, did we just uncover something here?
Sure did.
Did we just uncover something here? Who was he working for? Why didn't they put him in the paddy wagon with the rest of them? Why didn't they, even though he walked away, he is the man, why didn't they attack him when they were attacking the sister? Were they instructed not to attack him? Were they instructed not to treat him? Because if you put 2 and 2 together, President Devine just said that he was already involved in white tea gangs. So he already had it in with with that community. Did we just uncover something?
Where the bombs at?
I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to. Boom!
So make sure y'all go to the Patreon and check out that watch party. Yeah, he was a part of a white gang. Morris Park Dukes in the Bronx, where the people are fresh. So y'all enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe, stay dangerous at the same time. I got nothing to say, but I'm going to do the throwback clip. I'm out, y'all. Good night.
Good evening to the commission. First, I'd like to conclude what Brooke said, that this bill is flawed. As a Black American descendant of slavery, we demand reparations in the...
Pause. Shout out to Claire Stewart. Thanks for the cash app. Thanks for the cash out. Let's continue.
Form of substantial cash payments and full income tax exemption. Our ancestors who were stolen from their homes, trafficked and exploited under the system of brutal forced labor, built the wealth of this state. Yet we and our families have continued to suffer under generations of racial injustice, economic suppression, and government neglect. New York State's role in slavery was not incidental. It was foundational. Hence, foundational Black Americans deserve reparations. Before the Civil War and even after the abolition of slavery, of the transatlantic slave trade, in 1808, Black Americans were still kidnapped and sold in slavery through the reverse Underground Railroad. New York itself was the home to a thriving network of kidnappers who preyed on free Black people, forcing them into bondage in the South. This was not the work of a few criminals, but a system upheld by corrupt officials, law enforcement, and even the courts, all of them who turned a blind eye to the suffering of Black families torn apart. The New York kidnapping clubs, composed of police officers, judges, ensured Black people would never feel safe in a so-called free North. Wall Street itself, now a symbol of American wealth, was built on this trade of Black bodies. Enslaved Blacks were the first commodities bought and sold on the very heart of the New York financial district. This was not just Southern brutality. New York profited immensely from slavery, ensuring slave ships, financing plantations, and ensuring continued oppression of Black people long after slavery was legally abolished. The state government, its banks, and its business thrived on our suffering, and they owe a long overdue debt. Even after slavery officially ended, New York never made good on its promises to Black Americans. The New York Democratic Party has consistently failed us, offering empty pledges, symbolic justice, while doing little to repair the damage. Instead of justice, we face redlining, segregation, police brutality, and economic exclusion. The crack epidemic of the 80s, fueled by systemic neglect and targeted policies, devastated Black communities, while the government waged war on us instead of addressing the root causes. This is not an accident. It is a continuation of the same racist structures that have always sought to keep us oppressed. We are tired of waiting. We are tired of broken promises. New York history is one of active participation in Black suffering. You owe a debt, and we come to collect that debt. And if you think what happened to Kamala Harris' campaign was something, wait till we do it the rest of you.
Thank you, Kiesha Forrest.
On the Brooklyn Bridge tonight, voices strong, knowledge tight, thorough Black talk in the air, changing minds, changing flair. From brother Tad to sister K, warriors got things to say. Sister Marcy brings the heat, brother Blacksmith keeps the beat. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Thursday nights the world will see Black Power media on a spree. Facebook, YouTube all aligned, breaking free from every bind. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves, they fly